It's going to be great. So hit that like button on the way in the building for me. Let me show some love to my folks in the chat. Let me see if I can find Hunter, because y'all know we cannot get the show started without Hunter coming through with the Bible verse of the day. So let me see if I can find him. And while I'm doing that, I want to show some love to my folks. What up, Cool Ramon? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. What up, Lori Addison? How you doing this morning, sister? It's good to see you. Shout out to V. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Papa Died? Papa Died is the least funniest comedian in the chat. Yeah, I'm starting on you today, Papa Died. But appreciate you pulling up this morning, bro. Thank you. Appreciate you. Who else we got up in here? Early, man. You guys have full-fledged conversations, in the chat before I even get up here. What up, Donald Lovejoy, man? Appreciate you pulling up. Scott Jung in the building. Y'all see the hat. Tennessee in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Sonny? Appreciate you. What's up, Rob? How you doing this morning, man? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Hadassah? How you doing this morning? Hey, can we make sure to show Lori some love in the chat? Today is her birthday.
What's up?
Today is her birthday. Maybe it was yesterday, but y'all make sure y'all show Lori some love in the chat. Happy birthday to you.
Don Lemon.
Appreciate you and everything.
Squeeze too much of his lemon juice. He in trouble.
For me and for me, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Y'all make sure y'all show Lori some love in the chat. Shout out to Lori. Couple super chats. What up, Steven? Coming through with the $2 super chat. Says, good morning from the cab of a big rig in Minnesota. Be safe out there, man. I had saw something earlier this morning. There was like a crazy car pile. I don't know if it was in Minnesota or if it was in Michigan. I can't remember exactly. I know it was one of those states up north. But man, y'all make sure y'all keep those folks, lifted up in prayer. Crazy car pile up out there. Trucks, cars, big rigs, all over the place, man. All over the place. It did not look good. So y'all make sure y'all keep those folks lifted up in prayer. Shout out to Hunter coming through with the $10 super chat. Says, good morning. Here is the verse for the day. Courtesy of Papa Died. Okay. All right. Papa Died coming through with the verse. And Hunter, I would have found you. You didn't have to come through with the super chat. I do appreciate it, but I would have found you eventually. Looks like today's verse is from 1 Thessalonians. 1 Thessalonians. These verses is working
What's up?
Chapter 5, verse 15 says, make sure that nobody pays back wrong for wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and for everyone else. Man, that's right on time. Right on time. Shout out to you, man. Thank you, Papa Guy. Appreciate you, bro.
What's up?
Thanks, Papa Guy, coming through with the $2 super chat. Says, wise, you should be paying me for my content. I'm not messing with you, bro. Appreciate you, Papa Guy. Thank you very much. What's up, Dion? Big John Ford in the building. Wisconsin in the house. Shout out to you. What up, Bobby? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Megan Fountain? Appreciate you pulling up this morning as well. Who else we got up here early? All right, is that Deborah? Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to get ready to pull my folks in. I thought I seen Deb Longo in the building. Shout out to you. What's up, Deb? How's it going this morning? It's good to see you in the chat. What up, Sapphire? How you doing this morning? It's good to see you in the chat as well. What up, Kirsten? How you doing? H-Town in the building. What's up, Shivnay? How you doing today? Hope all is well. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Let me see who else is in here. Oh, it's a lot of you guys, man. All right, let me get ready to pull my folks up. We're gonna get the show kicked off. And let's see, am I missing anybody? Oh, I got everybody. All right, perfect. What's up, Minister Denzel? How you doing this morning, brother?
Good morning, our fearless leader. Good, looking good, feeling good, ready for that battle.
Absolutely. I thought the song was proper for today. I was gonna do something different, but with everything that's going on, I think people need to be battle ready for sure.
Right on target, brother. Right on target.
You know. All right.
On the winning side.
Absolutely. Yes, Lord. What up, Celeste? How you doing this morning, sister?
Like and subscribe.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
Everybody in the chat. You're right. A battle it is, and battle ready we must be.
Amen. Absolutely. We got my sister Crystal in the building. I thought you was gonna be like somewhere out in the world somewhere.
You know what? She told me to go and do this, and she'll let me know when she's ready. So I'll just keep running and run and get her. But good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Regardless of the chaos in this world, God gives us a position of peace, and I am so thankful for that.
Absolutely. What up, Mika? How you doing, sister?
What y'all think? Don tripping?
Hey, well, we appreciate you pulling out. We were trying to get you on the show for
As a journalist, he should know the First Amendment.
Superstar.
What's they call it, a face tag?
And last but not least, Nudie on the show today. What up, Edie? How you doing today? Appreciate you pulling up.
I'm so excited to be here with you all. So last week, Crystal, it's so good to see you again. And thank you, otherwise, for having me on. It's an honor. I'm so super excited and nervous.
Renee good. Renee good. Renee good.
That is not right. That is not how you're supposed to protest. That is private property. Regardless of being a church, that's still private property. That's crazy.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? You have no comment, exactly.
They was outside planning it. They did. They wasn't staged. They went out there and planned it themselves. Don Lemon recorded them doing it. The lady said they go around state to state disrupting.
This is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. But there were folks who said, I have to take care of my flock. But listen, we live in, there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ. I'm very respectful.
And it was paid anyway. Don't people be paid to come to these protests? They go to every protest on time, sign ready.
I think Jesus would be understanding, and we're about love these folks. We're about spreading the love of Jesus. We just try to talk to them. No one is willing to talk. Okay, I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also be this bill. If you don't want us to,
You gotta go, Don.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian. We're here to worship. We're here to worship. Okay, thank you very much.
As you can see, all these pretend Christians, all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No. Jesus would die with immigrants. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens. You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino
Yeah, you need to go to jail.
Why do I not see you out at Whipple every
All
day
of them.
protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't
Thank you guys for joining in. Happy Tuesday. Don need to go to jail. And so did this guy right here that's talking. They messed up. You gotta go.
Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living
Like and
real
subscribe.
comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos.
Right, Jay. Lock that ass up. Put his ass with Diddy.
He wears a suit and tie. And
Put Don with Diddy. Yeah, do that.
How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not? Why are you not going down to Whipple and joining us in protest?
Right, they at church praying and all that. You can't just come in there and tell them how to protest and when should they protest at a church. That's the crazy thing about it. They at church minding their own business. How you gonna go into a church and tell them how to protest? They should protest and why they're not, and they at church. Amazing. But yet they're gonna blame the people in church and not the person that's coming in there. Don, you bogus. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys.
Protest against this inhumanity. You claim to be a Christian, act like one.
This is an operation that is a secret, that they invited folks out.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual.
Y'all heard that and see that. Wow.
So right now it's kind of mayhem. We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them. Did they explain to you why they're here? They did not. They said that there is someone here, Easterwood, someone who is a member of ICE, and he's a pastor of the church. Our church had gathered for.
You say Jesus did the same thing back in the day. Yeah, they made the church into like a business, or not a business. They was doing too much. They didn't do the right thing inside that church. Let's read the Bible. They didn't do the right thing. These people doing a totally different thing than what the Bible did back then when Jesus came in that by our temple and tore it up. Totally big different things. Lisa Adams.
Worship, which we do every Sunday. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left. So this is what the First Amendment is about the freedom to protest. There's varying array of views in this church on politics of immigration. Recognize the complexity of the issue.
Thank you.
Just how divided America is. When you look at the protest.
Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get there.
And you know what's the interesting thing? If these two groups can just get together, they might figure out what to do.
I don't necessarily agree with everything that's going on in the Twin Cities right now, but I don't
Appreciate
think it's good to fight
it.
fire with fire. I think it's good to speak up, and I think it's good to protest, but I think it's better to do it in a peaceful way.
Yeah, that was interesting to watch. This guy here.
Don Lemon leads a contingent into this church that says that we're not good Christians because we're not standing with our Somalian brothers and sisters. What say you, sir?
Any black person in this country who talks about white supremacy and lets a white man dominate him every day.
And they had children. These protesters came into this church and they had children there, had the kids crying and everything. And the Bible had explained what happened in the Bible. I don't think no kids was around there. He said it turned the temple to a den of thieves. So praying and worshiping is not considered a den of thieves when they did back in the Bible, if I'm quoting it right. Do your research. Appreciate you guys.
Administration and the fake news magazines are losing their mind over something that's not even true.
Oh, no, sir. This ain't got nothing to do with MAGA. This got everything to do with you taking your faggot ass up in that church and harassing people like that. Now you want to circle back and act like, oh, well, I'm in no affiliation, association. No. You are in 110% corroboration with the Democratic Party that is causing more and more problems. You, by the way, who keeps saying that white people are devils, but you married to a white man. So does that make you the devil's broad? I'm trying to understand, what is it exactly that you are doing, and what is it exactly that you want us to think that you're doing? You are opposition to any and everything that is successful in this country. Anything that is trying to get this country together, you are in direct opposition of. But then you want to come back and try to play the victim. No, you're not a victim, Don. You are not a victim. You are 100% guilty of all this that you have already done. And then you keep doing it. Then you keep doing it. Then you want us to come in and talk about, oh, well, you know, it's the news. It's the news. You're a damn journalist yourself. Listen, people.
Good evening.
I'm trying to tell you, we're doing a complete separation. If you are not a melanated American, if you are not one of our non-melanated cousins, all y'all can get out. Even the people that were born here. If you do not like this country, and Don, you got plenty of money, take your ass somewhere else. You and your husband. Why Why don't you go somewhere? Where is all the rest of these people? Where did what's her name? The white lady that had the TV show. Yeah, go with Portia. Go on Ellen DeGeneres. Why don't you go be neighbors with Ellen?
Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it.
Minister Danza, you get the first word, bro.
Thanks, Ali.
Thank you for this.
See, I'm Uncle Ruckus. Thanks for the thank you.
That was a whole
I'll be Uncle Ruckus. Appreciate it.
But I thank God for his word, first of all, because his word tells us how to respond to this kind of madness. I have to give out kudos to the pastor who handled himself pretty decently.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate
in
it.
the midst of that chaos. Romans chapter 12 and Matthew chapter 5 tells us the gold standard for how Christians
Critical. What's up, man?
Rhetoric. But we have to remember that also 1 Timothy chapter 1 says that the law is for the lawless. And the law needs to we need to call the law on these kind of people. I know that the law in the Bible in that text is referring to the spiritual law, but we have legal laws that prohibit this kind of confusion. And I think they all need to go in jail. I hope they make them examples out of them. There was one old man in in the videos that was shown that was being interviewed by Don Lemon, and the brother was doing a great job defending himself. And then
the people who went to the Capitol, they went to jail. Even the grandmas, she got sent off. She went to jail. So Don, y'all gotta go to jail, man. Yeah, and hope Trump pardon y'all ass.
He realized at some point that Don Lemon really wasn't a journalist, and he said, "You ain't no journalist," which is true. This guy was an activist. This is the reason why we as Christians have to be prepared and know what we're talking about and know how to bring it to the enemy when they step to us in public. Because if we do not respond properly and correctly, and if we do not school them in the public when they're making these statements, we only help their confusion. I have to say this, and it's very important that we talked about this just Friday, about how desperate they are right now. They're desperate, and this is what desperation looks like. Desperation makes fools be more foolish. It makes crazy people act more crazy. And I pray that we keep our cool. We do not do anything that justifies their madness. We cannot repay evil.
Right, critical. Yep.
But we
must
sure
did
them with Christian logic and rationality and with truth, and let them look like the fools that they are. Proverbs chapter 26, verses 4 and 5. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. We got our battle, our work cut out for us. Let's do what Jesus said, and let's do it the right way and take it to them.
Celeste.
Good morning. Well, let me say this. This Minister Danzel is absolutely correct. For some reason, we seem to have foreshadowed all of these events last week, and unfortunately, while we slumbered and many of us were able to commune with God peacefully over the weekend, it has escalated. And we are nearly to the point, and I don't want to foreshadow this, we are nearly to the point where we are escalating beyond rhetoric. That we are escalating to a point that is about to become dangerous. Because as the minister was saying, in desperation, these people are going to become violent. They are refusing to lose. You know, when you play a sport, the whole point of the sport is that everybody who begins the game agrees that they may lose. And they agree that they will accept the loss if it comes to them. We are in a situation now where people are saying we refuse to accept the loss. And if the only option is that you win, then we'd rather destroy the game than have you win. In my opinion, I feel like the administration, Harmeet Dillon, who I know has come out and said that they are going to prosecute where they find crime to the fullest extent of the law. I don't think we have to look too hard for crime. This is clearly a violation of the FACE Act. It's a violation of trespassing on private property. There are 1,000 charges that could be leveled. You could pick a charge, any charge that happened here. But I think would be most helpful and which would send a message is if the administration would issue some guidance for exactly what churches and homeowners should do. Should they be confronted by aggressive and possibly violent so-called protests in their private property, in their church, or on their homes. If you remember, when we let this thing go with Justice Kavanaugh, when that young man came with a rifle to shoot him.
Why haven't they showed you this video? Almost everybody blame MAGA for the Capitol incident, but why haven't they showed you this video?
You gotta repost it because, it's the truth.
Where is your backup?
I'm back up.
This
Why?
is your Capitol building, and y'all are letting it get destroyed on your watch. Call for backup. Get some help down here.
Almost everybody blame MAGA for
To
the Capitol
his home
incident, but
where
why
his
haven't they
children lived. I remember when during the George Floyd riots.
Why they won't say Ashley's name either?
In
Lincoln Riley, none of these other ladies. That's
when
crazy.
he was living in Washington, D.C., and his wife and children had locked themselves and were hiding in a pantry, calling the police, trying to get relief. We cannot live like this. And we are constitutionally bound not to live like this. None of us want to be lawbreakers. None of us want to hurt someone, but we absolutely are going to have to secure our peace. And we need some guidance in knowing exactly how legally we can secure our peace. And I will say this, and then I'll finish here. This is what happens when you live in Democrat-run and liberal areas. The reason they do this is because there is a tolerance in these places of lawlessness. They know that the leadership, the law enforcement, and the actual laws that are codified are on their side so that they can do this type of intimidation and threatening tactics and kind of squeak through the loopholes and on the kindness and the so-called genteelness of the people in leadership. Come out of her. Come out of her. I said last week, this is a page out of Saul Alinsky's playbook. They are serious about this playbook. They are going to do these tactics. Please read and know and demand from your governors, and we demand from the Trump administration to immediately issue guidance that leaves on no uncertain terms what our rights are in protecting ourselves.
Mika, I'll give you the next word on this. But before we do that, I need people to go and check out Rules for Radicals. You need to go read it for yourself. And then after you read it, I got to show some love to this brother right here.
Right, critical.
And then after you read it, I need you to go and read Rules for Restoration. I don't know if you guys can go do that. Go do that right after.
That's amazing.
So you got a full understanding of what their tactics are and then how to combat those tactics. Shout out to Michael Hancock. I'm going to try to have him on the show here in the near future, but it's right on time. Mika, I'll give you the next word.
So, well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I saw this yesterday, and I just thought to myself, Don Nemo, what is he not at? Like, what doesn't, stir up? And ever since he's become an independent journalist,
Excuse me.
I know, that's where I was going. He is the authority now in YouTube and anywhere else. But ever since he's done that, he's using that as an excuse to be, here, there, and everywhere. And
damn, really good night.
He acts as if we don't know that he's being tipped off. Don Lemon is still very much mainstream. Okay, he still has those connections, so he knows where these people are going to be. He knows that they're going to be causing trouble here, there, and everywhere. That's why he's there already.
He said it in the video.
Yeah. So when he's getting called out about it, he's like, "Well, I didn't know." No, you absolutely knew where they were going.
Yeah, funny.
But the problem with it is, on the left, they seem to have.
Talking about Don Lemon and them protesters going to the church.
To be separate from
and how they're going to be charged. So they should be charged with the FACE Act.
And what's really right because they have everything to say about how the right does. And, you know, you may have some valid critique, but the problem is anytime it's the left, it is justified. It's righteous, per se. It's on the right side of history. It's about purity. It's protecting, like the white guy that was just there talking, you know, well, why aren't you helping your Somali brothers and sisters? Because the Somali brothers and sisters don't deem themselves my brother and sister.
No, they don't.
If you go up to a Somali, they say, I'm Somali, and that's fine. But they don't say, I'm American. So that ought to tell you something. Or they don't even say, I'm Somali American. Right?
She shouldn't have died. I know she got $5 million, but she shouldn't have died for no reason.
And it's fine.
Trigger happy
You're
cop.
not going to be here.
And that same cop that shot her, I think he got caught up in the daycare scheme himself.
Taking from us to send back to your country because you
Yeah,
want
he got caught up in the daycare scheme, I believe.
Right? You want to get your country to a point where, you know, it can stand on its own. And
here we go, Coastal side. So Charlie Kirk was a terrible father. Wow.
And more so
amazing.
They perpetuate all of that, not realizing that they're not only
like and subscribe, you guys. Trying to get to 1,000 if you can.
Everybody else. And I'll say this last thing. When he rode into that church, I noticed that it's not about what's righteous. It's not about what's what the word says. It's always about a political factor, and it's always about a self-righteousness. And they deem that to be a lot bigger than anything else. They invoke religion, whether it's, you know, Islam or whether it's Christianity. They invoke all types of religions, but they don't actually believe in any of those. Nothing that they do is from, lack of a better term, a righteous perspective. Nothing that they do, right? And so I just look at it as performative, really them trying to push a narrative. And by them storming into that church and interrupting a service, I think it was a bad look. I think it was irresponsible, and I think it was absolutely disgusting.
Absolutely. Crystal, we'll get you in on the conversation. You can go wherever you'd like to go. I do want to say this. I think the churches, based off of this and based off of some of the other incidents that have happened, you know, over the past year or a couple of years, I think the churches got to have some real conversations around security, what that looks like, what that means. They got to do a better job. What happened and what transpired over the weekend, that's not a good look at all. The churches got to figure that out for sure.
So let me start off with this. They lucky they went in that church. And they didn't go into a church that has a Peter.
Amen.
Okay? Because if they went into a church that had a Peter, that would have been a different subject. But they went into a church that had a John. Okay?
Amen.
Because a Peter would have explained to them why Jesus said to sell your cloaks to get a sword. They would have understood that very clearly in that moment. Okay? Now, I love how the people love to come in and tell you what Jesus would do and Jesus this and Jesus that. Jesus, they said, why aren't you standing for your Somali and Latino brother and sister? Who did Jesus say are my mother and my brother? Those who do the will of my Father. That's who Jesus said is my mother and my brother. Therefore, you can't come and tell me about what Jesus would want me to do when you don't even know who Jesus is. I'm so sick of people walking in and trying to tell people what Jesus is supposed to. You don't know Jesus. Don't come in here talking to me about Jesus and you don't know him. In fact, sit down, shut up, and learn who Jesus is and stop running in here like a crazy person.
Right.
Now, I want to point out, like I've always told everybody, Jesus is kind, not nice. People have this warped sense of reality. Jesus is kind. That means he will tell you the truth. He gives you mercy, but he's not going to tolerate your foolishness. He is not going to affirm your madness. He's not going to affirm, like they said, Jesus was about the immigrants. Yes, legal, because according to Romans chapter 13, we are supposed to submit to the governing authority. So since we're supposed to submit to the governing authority, therefore, we are supposed to follow. We're not just going to accept everybody as you commit wrong, because Jesus didn't agree with that. That's why Jesus would say, go and sin no more. That means stop what you're doing. But these people like to live in this warped sense of reality and try to make up what Jesus is. Jesus is a leftist. Jesus agrees with what the left does. Then you don't know Jesus. So don't tell me about someone that you don't know. I know my Father.
If you haven't read Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, those chapters, those books, you don't know Jesus then. At least read those. You don't know Jesus.
You don't know my Father. So you need to stay out of my business. Now, on the other side of things, Don Lemon is complicit. I don't care what anybody says, because I watched all videos, and I watched Don Lemon kiss that lady, say, oh, we haven't told them the address. He knew when they pulled up at the place, even if he says, I didn't know where I was going, allegedly. Let's go with that. And he pulled up, and he looked and he saw that church. Immediately, he should have sat his butt down and said, you know what, I'll just wait till the parishioners come out. I'll just wait out there. But no, he went inside. Don't say you're trying to do what a journalist is doing when you went inside.
Thank you.
Once you went inside, you became one of the activists. When he told the pastor, keep your hands off of me, don't push me, but you
right,
grabbed the
critical.
pastor
That's what
and was
happened.
trying to walk away. So don't tell the pastor to be
She was
respectful,
in the
but you
wrong.
put your hands to the pastor.
Why can't they hold her for
Absolutely
accountability? That's crazy.
And the fact that
I was
these
going to say
people,
pastor. I'll say man.
Renee Good woke up, like you said, critical, 4 hours to go drop her kid off somewhere in a daycare and go agitate the cops. She got out of her bed to go disrupt other people's business. That's on her.
Yeah. He put his hand on a man.
exactly. He lucky that
What do
man
you expect for him to do?
That's what I say, because let it have been another church. Let it have been another church, it wouldn't have been nice. Now, let me point out, that lady, Nakia, is with Black Lives Matter. That demonic, confused, sad state of a wannabe organization wants to come in there on MLK Day. Let's just go with MLK, because everybody's like, yes, there was MLK. Well, the next day was MLK. So it was Sunday, and they were going, so they're saying they're standing up for the rights of people. Yet they didn't call Dakara Thompson's name. They didn't call Larisha Sherelle Thompson's name. They didn't call Jamil Shaw's name. They didn't call Jocelyn Nungare's name. They didn't call, since they're doing righteous stuff, they didn't call Lakin's name. They didn't call Rachel Morin's name. They didn't call Kayla Hamilton's name. They ain't called none of these names. So why are you picking and choosing? This virtue signaling is weak. We don't fall for your foolishness. We don't care what you say, because y'all don't know. Y'all don't even know who you're supposed to be standing up for. You will turn your back on the American citizens that have lost their lives at the hands of illegal, criminal immigrants. But you want to sit down here and tell us why we aren't standing up for our Somali brothers and sisters who are robbing us blind, allegedly? Really? That makes sense to you? You are sitting here defending when ICE is out there trying to arrest the P3DOs and the people that have assaulted people, that have taken people's lives. You are defending those people, but you didn't defend the lives of those innocent people that lost their lives? Let me know how that works out. And this is the problem, and why I tell people, when you are a Christian, you need to take territory. That means you need to be involved in everything, every aspect of this world. You need to be involved, because wherever Jesus does not have a kingdom, the devil has made his kingdom. Okay? And why I say that? Because that attorney general could have done something, but his happy butt was sitting on on Don Lemon with D.L. Hughley and making excuses, saying that this was a First Amendment right. It wasn't a First Amendment right, but you're Muslim. We know that you're Muslim. We know that you ain't gonna look at what happened to these Christians and think that what happened was wrong. You're not gonna look at it like that. You're going to make excuses for that. At the end of the day, I look at these people and I say, you know what? they would not have done that to a mosque. They wouldn't do it to a mosque.
No, they would not.
But they will do it to the church.
They do it to
And
the Christianity.
I want Christians to know this is the time when you stand up. It's time for y'all to stop sleeping. It's time for all of us to stop sleeping. We need to stand up because we have been sleeping, because they think we're supposed to be nice and we're supposed to be domiciled and we're supposed to be all of these things. That is why they take advantage of us. That is why they do the things that they do. No more. We are supposed to be bold. We are supposed to stand up strongly for our God because we serve the one true living God. Therefore, no one is supposed to be stepping all over us like that. We are not weak. Learn to combine a little bit of John, a little bit of Peter. And that's why what you just said, Wise, I reached out to Tatum because he part of his thing with the
Hey, Tree Crew, see how you able to go ahead and look up this lady's information about me sharing this shit? You know what I'm saying? All I'm doing is sharing it. I'm not claiming nobody's content. It's my own. I'm here sharing the information and other content because it's out there. It's YouTube. And these people are right.
the Black Line security people.
Yes.
They want to be able to do it for the churches as well now. So, and this is like people, to me, people should be putting money, like when they want to donate money, instead of donating to that psychopath that was running around yelling at people about their privilege. People donated, I think, $40,000, $50,000 already to this idiot. They should be donating
Samuel
to
King, thanks for joining in.
They're trying to provide security for the truth tellers that are out there in the dirt, in the mud.
Thank you guys.
These crazies. When protecting the churches, that is what we
Let's get to 1,000.
Putting our money
1,000
towards.
subscribers.
Not sitting down here looking at people like the Nick Shirleys, the Nick Sorters, those people that are out there are giving us the truth and turning a blind eye for their protection and their security. We need to have their back just as much. And I want Don Lemon to go under the jail. But not just go into the jail, go under the jail. You need
Put
to
on that orange, baby. Put on that orange, baby.
Because you deserve every bit of it. And Nakia, who says I'm an attorney, they need to disbar you, snatch that degree, and send your happy butt to jail too, because you know better. I'm glad that Harmeet is talking about the FACE Act. She even said about the Klan
And this
Act.
is his channel.
I know there was such thing
This
as
is
the Klan
his
Act, and you could use that. But
that we watching.
Listen, I'm excited. I looked it up and I learned what the Klan Act was, and I support it too.
Can I just say something to Kristen really quick? I think the reason why they don't bother
Appreciate that, Tree.
they don't bother other
Appreciate that, man.
It's because
Thank
they
you.
make religion synonymous with race.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's true.
Name is Deunta from Rockford now. Live in Rockford, from Chicago, live in Rockford now. It's going on 2 years. Home guy chilling.
All different kinds of races, but they only focus on one group, right? If you look at Christianity, it has all different kinds of races that believe, but they only focus on one group. They're not talking about the black churches, quote unquote black churches. When they talk about Christianity, they're only talking about the white churches.
Always.
So now they have made this thing an actual race. They have made religion race.
Yep.
So when you think of Islam, you think of, just Arab.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of Christianity, it has to be a white man.
Right, man. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And I just want to add, I know somebody said judge not. Guess what? John 7:24 says, judge righteously. And we're supposed to judge righteously, especially those like Don Lemon who claims he's a Christian. When you tag on that Christian name, I'm going to judge you righteously because Jesus calls me to judge righteously because I need to see your fruit. And I want you to understand that we are all supposed to judge righteously. I'm no longer calling those people Christian. And I want every Christian to stop calling those people Christian because they're not Christian. But when they want to claim Christianity, we're going to judge righteously and let you know you are not a Christian. Don't do that. You don't fall under our umbrella. Just because you believe in God, you don't stand up for the will of my Father. So therefore, you are not a Christian.
How you doing, Miss Jones?
Yeah, well, I think we can all go home because on all of that, it's every no. I took the words right out of my mouth. So I chuckled when I heard Donnie say that he was a Christian. I always chuckle when I hear him say or reference the Lord, because he knows not the Lord. And when he says, Jesus, don't you think Jesus would have done it? Listen, you think I don't wish Jesus had said, be the resistance, when they asked him, what do you think about the imperial tax? You think I don't wish that he said, no, that is wrong to take taxes. You don't
God
have to
bless you
take taxes.
back.
Be
Thank
the
you.
resistance.
Appreciate that.
Be the insurgents. Get out there. Cause a ruckus. No, he didn't. Because God established law. We would have no law but for the Lord. So
Right.
he's an idiot for even trying to feign Christianity. Brother, you don't know, you wouldn't know the word if it slapped you in the face. So please take several seats. When I saw that they went into the church, and why do they all look the same? Either the first guy with the beard, the scraggly beard, why do they all look like that? You know, they have like blue hair. They have a look like, you know where they're going. Don't
A little dusty.
Yeah.
A little dusty. We can thank our previous administration for setting the precedence that if you think you've been wronged, you have a right to go cause all sorts of, or wreak havoc all over the place. I remember when they were burning down Targets and looting everything, and we had these celebrities out here saying, well, that's a small price to pay for a man being killed. Like, this is justified. Go ahead and destroy the cities. It's justified because you feel victimized. And so now this is where we are. People are going into churches, and you were correct in saying that they wouldn't do this with any other religion. They do this with Christianity because we serve the one true God, and that this is just, when people say, how do you know Jesus is real? Well, who's the one person everybody hates? Who's the one word that everyone hates? So that is how I know. Jesus told us. When people
It's a good question, Tree. How do people still be listening to this man?
Okay. And another thing, when they say,
He a straight send-off.
peaceful, turn the other cheek. Jesus said, I didn't come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword. I came to bring a sword. What are you talking about? And Jesus got annoyed with people. He said, how long do I need to be with you before you enter the temple? Right. So everyone just, I would like I would like it to be a crime if they malign the word of the Lord. I would like for that to be a punishable crime. I don't know that it'll ever happen, but that is my hope. What else was I going to say? I forgot what else I was going to say, but I think I hit the main points. It's atrocious, but as Crystal said, we just need to be battle ready. I mean, at first the disciples were told, you don't need to take anything with you for the road. Just go here, proclaim, cast out demons, heal the sick, all the things. And then before Jesus left, he said, before I told you, go peacefully, but now I tell you, take a sword with you, because it's going to get rough out there, and you need to be prepared. We need to be spiritually armored, full armor of God, but as Celeste pointed out, we also need to know what we can do in the physical, because lives are in danger. We don't know what those people had with them. They could have had any number of things with them to cause harm. And that preacher should have done more. Remember that in 2020, the preacher in Canada, and he chased out the police who were trying to shut down. Like, that is what we need. Like, chase after them. Like, get them out of the house of the Lord. Get them out. That's all.
Wise. Romans, I would make this last point. This is very important, because I'm hearing this from my brothers and sisters on this panel, and this is so true. We have to understand that, like I said, Romans chapter 12 and Matthew chapter 5 are the gold standard for the Christian. All Christians do not function in the gold standard. I'm going to say that again. All Christians do not function in the gold standard of Christianity. Romans chapter 12.
Talking about Don Lemon.
Romans chapter 12, verse 18. He said, if
those agitators
possible,
going to the church.
as much as lieth within you, live peaceably with all
What you
men.
think about it?
You understand what I'm saying?
Al?
Everybody can't do that. There, people have different levels. You don't want to step up on the wrong Christian who's not there yet, because you will get rudely awakened. And again, Jesus did run folk out of the temple. When you came into the house of God and disrespected it, you ran them out. No one wants to talk about that. The Bible says you reap what you sow. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. That's true spiritually, and it's also true naturally. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that Christians are punks just because we are loving. people have limits, and you don't want to push people over their
That's
limits.
Brother Wise. This is Channel, a righteous perspective.
So
This is
I
Channel.
just want to say this really quickly. First of all, I'm in this whole business is beginning to incense me, and I believe it's beginning to incense the American people. And I agree with Minister Danzel. We have got to keep
Like and
a cool
subscribe.
head. But this kind of stuff is ridiculous. First of all, this weaponization of judgment. God made us man and not beast so that we would have discernment. We are absolutely supposed to judge. The only reason the idea of judgment has been weaponized is so that people like Don Lemon, who remain unrepentant in their sin, can sashay around the world and escape any kind of criticism or any kind of account. That's why they keep telling you, stop judging. No,
Hey,
judge.
Tree.
Judge all the time.
They sent old
Judge
women to
every
church.
day.
They Don Lemon. The old woman had went to the Capitol. 87 years old. She went to jail, I believe. So he can go to jail. They won't hurt her.
Ask God for discernment, ask to judge in love, ask to judge in mercy the way he should. But stop walking around with your eyes closed saying, I can't have an opinion, I can't have a judgment, I can't know what's going on. This is the road to our destruction. And as for this situation, this woe to us for running men out of the church, because what was left was that feckless and weak pastor who only had to say, those men should have got around that church and took those people in a circle and swarmed them, locked the doors and not let them leave, and somebody told the police. They should have turned the tables, and I don't mean upside down, turned the tables on those people, said, if you come in here, this is a place where we're in charge. And so we're going to encircle you. And nobody is getting out of this circle until the police come. There are things that could have been done that I believe real men would have known to do. And I'm very sorry that there weren't enough present in that church on Sunday to actually protect the women and children that they say that they're responsible to lead over. So I'm absolutely finished with this. I agree with you, Wise. Stop going to listen, if you stop going to church and tithing to churches that won't provide you any security, y'all can say what you want about Islam. Way back in the day, when I used to attend a Nation of Islam group study, I can tell you this, it's one of the safest places I ever felt, because they absolutely frisk you at the door. And when they close the door and you go to pray, or you are involved in the worship or whatever you're doing, there are men standing by every exit with their eyes open, and they'll tell you, can't nobody come in here and disturb you, you're fine.
Hey, Wise, if someone asks you, that tell you the Bible says judge not, ask them where the scripture's at. And if they don't know, tell them to go to Matthew chapter 7 and read the whole text, because it doesn't stop. There's no period after judge not. It says judge not lest ye be judged. So the statement is not telling you can't judge, just saying that if you judge somebody, be prepared to be judged by the same standard.
And they give you, minister, they give you instructions how to judge, because you can't be judging someone and then be doing the exact same thing that you are judging people on. That is where you're not supposed to judge. But we are all supposed to judge, and we're supposed to judge righteously. And I want
you can't judge. It says, the text says, lest you be judged. In other words, you can judge all you want to. Bring it. But just remember that when you do so, you're going to be judged by the same standard. And so that's the power of that.
This is an idea straight out of the Frankfurt School of this idea about judging. That's one of the first concepts they put in the lexicon. And that was their pass. That was their pass to say, okay, now anything we do going forward is exempt from any kind of criticism, because now you're judging, so you can't do that. So again, the people like Don Lemon and all these folks that live openly unrepentant feel like they can come to the man of God in his pulpit and tell him, well, aren't you a Christian? Shouldn't you be doing this? I would have turned around at him and said, what did you do last night? Is that Christian? Let's go. You want to talk? Give me the mic. Let's go.
Come on, sister. I'm talking about responding back. That's the response.
I'm done. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Go ahead.
Don't apologize.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's another word for a preacher? Is a shepherd. What does a shepherd do to protect this? What is a shepherd prepared to do to protect the flock when the wolves come?
That's
You
right.
do what needs to be done. You get them out of there. You don't stand there with a passive attitude saying, "Well, I wish they had handled this differently." No, get some fire in your eyes, stand on scripture, and get them out of there. There were children in there and pregnant women. I mean, can you imagine the fear and the children? Get them out of the church. Get them out.
Well, that goes back to.
Mess around and find out. Like, I would have just loved for them to approach.
Well, that goes back to something that we were discussing last summer in reference to the lack of men in churches. Because obviously there's a lack of men, and the men that are there are on the softer side of things. We'll leave it like that. And something has to shake. Something has to shake. We talked about those who practice Islam, and I talked about the organization, the strength that they show. That is something that is lacking, and that is something that is missing in, I would assume, majority of churches across the country right now. That is something that is lacking. And this right here, this was an eye opener. You know what I'm saying? And this was an eye opener for every pastor across the country. They have to have the thought that we got to get men in here some kind of way, and we have to start catering towards men. We cannot continue to operate the way that we're operating. Something has to change. Amen. A couple super chats I want to read. And we'll keep it moving. Shout out to Papa Died with the $2 super chat. Says, have the good guys ever invaded a church in America? How did I can think of? Thank you, Beverly White, for the $10 super sticker. Appreciate you. Thank you, Hunter, for coming through with the $10 super chat. Says, newsflash to the loony with the beard. Even as Christians know we are sinners. Of course, when he said that, I was like, we're all sinners.
He was born into sin.
At least some of us do. Shame on him.
As we got to change, renew the mind.
Absolutely. Thank you to Sexy 1989. Oh man, I feel like I'm reading a AOL email address from back in the day. Thank you for the $20 super chat. I know y'all had one too, Mika, Crystal. I know y'all had those crazy handles from back in the day on AOL.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Midwest, for the $5 super chat. Says Don Lemon said that he is a Christian, but is married to a man, and for that other man, you can literally hear the wickedness in his voice.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Papa Don, for the $5 super chat. Says they called that Operation Pullout. I thought it was Pull Up. I wish the parents had played that more often. Sorry.
It should be Operation Lockup.
Papa Don, I can't with you, bro. Come on, man. Golly. He did apologize, Minister Dale. He said he can't help himself sometimes. Goodness gracious. Thank you, Dan, for coming through with the $10 super chat. Says they paid Lemonhead $5 million to leave CNN. They did this knowing it was wrong. Question: with the governor and the mayor in this state, what can the federal government do to put these people in jail? It's a good question.
They flew them in. They said that they listening to Harmeet. She said that they are presenting the evidence and things to the federal judges, and so that they can prosecute them, because it should have been the state, because they have the law sitting there. But when you have those type of people leading Minnesota, they don't care.
Yeah,
so now the federal judges have to step. The federal has to step in, and we just pray that these federal judges don't try to block this. That's what we really got to pray on. And that's why I said all Christians need to stand up. If you need to be reaching out and making sure this doesn't get swept under the rug, because if it gets swept under the rug, people will they already put in the chat, we should do this to all MAGA churches. That's literally what they said. They said they need to go
man, thank you. Appreciate it.
So we need to
thank you.
They don't sweep this under the rug.
That's right. Thank you, Stephen, for the $2 super chat. Says
appreciate you. Thank you.
What if our leadership does nothing?
What if our leadership does nothing? Oh, okay.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you to Proto for the $5 super sticker. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Shout out to
Thank you, Tree. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Francesca Manning coming through with a $20 super chat. Says, how did Renee Good's name even earn the right to be mentioned on MLK Day? I don't understand this madness. What did she ever do for the people that truly sacrificed their lives for Black civil rights? Why do they do this? We talked about this on Friday. I mean, they've been clamoring for somebody.
Right.
They needed a body. They needed someone to sacrifice themselves. And they've been clamoring for this. So this doesn't surprise me. Thank you, Stephen, for the $2 super chat. Says, we are imprisoned by fraudsters in Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Thank you, Amethyst Angel, for coming through with the $5 super chat. Says, I'll be judged by 12 before I'm carried by 6. I already know the basics of my rights in my own home, whether we're in a stand your ground state or not. Thank you, Brodo, for the $5 super chat. Says, have a blessed day. Appreciate that. Thank you, Brian, for joining the ARP family. Appreciate you. Thank you, Red Bucks, for the $5 super sticker. Appreciate you as well. Appreciate you, LJ, coming through with the $2 super chat. Says, let DL and that witch show up at Pastor Wooden's.
Get it been done.
I don't think they'll do that.
That's what I said. I said if they showed up at Bishop Wooden, if they showed up at 2819, Lord. I'm sorry.
No, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Shout out to Billy W. Gifting 10 ARP family memberships. Appreciate you, Billy. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. And shout out.
I'm also on iHeartRadio.
Super chat says, wise they went to that particular church because the pastor was affiliated with
iHeartRadio as well.
And also so planned and organized. I did hear that. I wasn't for sure if it was the pastor. I thought it was maybe a deacon or somebody along those lines that was affiliated, but I did hear that somebody in that church was affiliated.
The main pastor, that the one who they were going after, he wasn't there. The one that was speaking there, he wasn't affiliated.
He wasn't, okay.
But it is a pastor, because that's what I heard too.
I did hear it was a pastor. And I think they said it was a pastor, but I mean, it's so funny to me that people are arguing about that when they say a pastor should get a job, and now the pastor got a job and they upset. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
Don't make no difference. They were wrong for what they did, no matter what.
They're absolutely, they're dead wrong for that.
They get with a dog catcher. Don't make no difference.
Yeah. Shout out to Jackie for the $5 super sticker. Appreciate you. Thank you to Kathy Boyd for the $2 super chat. Says, grateful for your righteous judgment. Appreciate you. We got Steve in the building. Shout out to you, Steve. Man, tough loss on Saturday, man. Satan will not bother you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's get to 1,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Pup Groomer, for gifting 5 ARP family memberships. Appreciate you. And thank you, Hunter, again, for coming through with the $20 super chats. I said this last night in Crystal Stream, but this is a PSA to all churches that you need security ASAP. You see how quickly they took over that church. Now, imagine if they had some pew-pews. It would be a national tragedy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Angie, for the $2 super sticker. Thank you very much. Or super chat. Thank you. And shout out to JB2 for the $1.49 super sticker. Appreciate you. And thank you, Deb Longo, coming through with the $10 super chat. Says, under the FACE Act, based on
not feeling like they're bullies because they got guns and body armor and walkie-talkies, that makes them immune to whatever the people would do. I think you want to correct the ideology of the pig and the mentality of the slave catcher. You meet them with equal force. All power to the people. All power to the pig.
Can you think of anything more stupid? Can you? Are you guys seeing this? Are you seeing these corny black Democrats?
The revolution is in the barrel of a gun, whether you believe it or not.
Posing as Black Panther parties, posing as though they are the salt of the movement in the 1960s. I was alive during that. I saw what was going on. And these cheap imitations.
Thank you for subscribing. Thank you.
Walking around, acting as though they have some sort of prestige. Did you hear the man? Revolution only comes at the barrel of a gun. He's actually using quotations from before. These YNs, they just don't get it.
Right, Rick. What you trying to achieve?
They think they're going to step on the coattails of something magnificent, but you can't.
Right, they came into church, disrupted the church, and everybody left. So they achieved nothing at all. Got the kids crying. No respect.
You're a part of the problem. So let me get it straight, okay? I just want you to know this from a truthful perspective. What you're seeing is not party sponsorship. It's ideological alignment, amplification. These modern Panther-branded fake groups fund themselves through small donations, online funding, and mutual drive aids, while Democrat politicians and media figures run interference by excusing, downplaying, or ignoring their rhetoric. You saw the man at the projects.
So everybody needs to unify and come together, and everybody needs to arm themselves, right?
Because like it was 19...
Where was the Black Panther Party then when Obama was doing it, the reporter in chief? Where was y'all at? The ICE agents doing the same tactics, going to the schools, homes, whatever, to get these people out of here. And Obama did 5 million. Come on, man. The TDS got to stop, you guys. Like and subscribe.
70? Listen, that distinction matters because what is being protected is not black people.
Send his ass to
It's
jail
the
with
narrative,
Diddy.
the Democrat narrative. When someone threatens ICE with violence and elected officials refuse to condemn it, that silence is not neutrality, folks. It's consent.
Let's get there, y'all.
And when activists aim their rage at an agency that's removing illegal immigrants from their own neighborhoods, can you think of anything more stupid? Can you? I'm fighting for my replacements. I'm fighting so that I have less resources. I'm fighting that the cost of housing goes up. I'm fighting that these people get everything before
Cool Cat, what's
Imagine
up?
the stupidity. Are there people that stupid? Evidently there are. They call themselves Black Panthers. Instead of removing illegal immigrants from their own neighborhoods, instead of the political system that imported the pressure be removed, they want to call it a revolution.
Right.
Are you getting this?
Mega.
They flooded your neighborhood with illegal immigrants, and they're trying to help you. They're literally the Uncle Tom coming in to stop the Sambo and the Quimbo from beating your people dead. That's not revolution, folks. You're misdirected. The original Black Panther Party
Good.
stood
That's
for
what's up.
economics. It stood for territory. It stood for real power. That's why Democrats had them killed. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Democrats had them killed. This cheap knockoff doesn't seem to understand that. Just a group of fatherless boys, YNs, that want to run their mouth. That's all they are. No serious movement threatens the cleanup crew while shielding the people who flooded the building to begin with.
Amen.
This is how I know this is cinema. This is theater. It's not liberation.
Yeah. And just open-ended, any comments you want to give to like my generation, the younger generation, or just any generation?
Legally arm yourselves and unify, or else you will die. And I mean that in a literal sense. You see on the news all the time, Renee. You know, everybody say her name, Renee. Right? She just got shot in the face by ICE. Right? This is a real thing, and they're not gonna stop. And the more they hurt people and get away with it, the more they're going to get that momentum to keep going. So everybody needs to unify and come together, and everybody needs to arm themselves, right? Because a revolution isn't a barrel of a gun, whether you believe it or not. You want to be comfortable and you want to be nice, you don't want no confrontation. Look, Huey P. Newton said it the best. Anybody without a gun is either a slave or they're about to be one.
Lock them up. Lock them up.
Yeah, he should
Lock
be
them
around.
up.
Why do you be doing this to me? I just don't understand.
I know. We're gonna start with Meek. I want Meek to have the first word on this. This is wild, man. I feel like we're watching the 70s, 60s, and 70s. These are the new age hippies and the fake Black Panthers. And ultimately they're just a bunch of communists, essentially. That's pretty much what they are. But Meek, you can go wherever you want to go.
But what in the Ricky Martin is going on? First off, okay, I said, oh my, what? He's not even. part, maybe at best in lineage, but he's not even from here. And then when you look him up, you know, he's here, there, and so I'm trying to figure out, why is he the front runner? I'm like, okay, you have one, put him in the back or something. Like, nobody black was available. All right. So that was my first thing. I said, okay.
In the whole project.
Somebody said he's Dominican. Child, I'm Cuban. It don't matter.
Dressed in dark clothing. These are the last moments Laken Riley was seen alive minutes before she was attacked. On the third day of testimony, the prosecution played this footage captured by the University of Georgia campus camera system.
What time? You said 9:05 a.m.? Yes. And do you recognize that individual we see in the screen? I do. Who is that? That is Laken Riley.
Video from around 6:50 a.m. on February 22nd shows a man dressed in dark clothing and wearing a hood lurking outside an apartment complex that is near the trail where Riley was eventually killed. The man, which phone data shows could be Jose Ibarra, can be seen standing.
That's crazy.
Their foundation is usually black. Okay, like what? Yeah, I was gone with that. Second, he's talking about, you know, what the Black Panther Party was then, but he's looking at only the guns. The Black Panther Party then had structure. Okay, when they went into the state house capitol, they had structure. They understood the law. They knew the law. Everybody knew the law. They made sure that people that supported them knew the law. All right, and so this is just an anarchist group, right? They're not actually functioning as an actual party. So when you look at that, you say, well, then what's the purpose? The purpose is to cause chaos. And on the flip side, the purpose is to get Black people on board with what they're doing. Black people have been saying all across the board, it's not my fight. It's not my fight. Oh, well. And I don't care if it was the right or the left. I saw it from both sides. And so when you look at all that, you say, okay, well, how am I going to get them on board? Get them emotional. That's usually how I do something. I get them emotional. Okay, so now I get them emotional. I put up a group that they're very well, you know, familiar with. A lot of people don't know the history, but they're familiar with the Black Panthers per se. And now you put them in here. Oh, the Black Panthers support illegal immigration. And he says, well, we're not a nationalist. The ones then were. So how are you the Black Panthers? He said, we're not a nationalist group. We are international. And I'm just like, okay. At this point, you guys are not the party from before. And then last but not least, I don't understand how it is that white liberals tend to go to the front of the line for every issue that is Black. The Gucci boots get right to the front. Like Karen just jumps right on over. Oh, you got an issue? It's mine now. That's how it always goes. And I'm just like, the whole say her name, we know where that came from, right? Regardless of how you feel about it, that was a Black issue. Now we're saying it for who? A lady that put herself in that predicament. And you guys have not been happening with anything that's happened in Chicago, Baltimore, DC. I mean, anywhere where there's a heavy concentration of Black people, I have not seen a Black Panther Party, not international, new Black Panther Party, whatever representation they want to call it. I haven't seen them. So I want to know, is this funded by the same
BlackRock, George Soros,
Bill Gates, all those types of people? Because outside of actual Black issues, they have not been present. And now they're present. Chopper.
Yeah. Dude's a plan. And this organization is a plan. And I'd like to get a full understanding of who's funding these people.
Yeah.
You're the Black Panther Party for Black people, but you are saying the name of some crazy radical, white woman liberal. And then on top of that, you're caping for illegal immigrants who have been pushed in your neighborhood to displace you, take your resources.
Economically. And it was like you said, it's economics. They work for economics. And if you look at the social programs that the Democratic government took, they took it from the Black Panthers. WIC was started by the Black Panthers. And it was in the community.
Bye, Renee.
If we take away the
she the new Karen.
Guess who we have? Daddy government.
Yep. First, I'll give you the next word.
Listen, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And boy, ain't it true? These people, they don't even know what they're supposed to be doing. Again, you are defending people who were brought here to replace you. Like I just don't understand. How do you defend people who were placed here who were brought here to replace you, who are pushing you out your neighborhoods, who are making life more difficult for you, who are taking the funds from here in America after you work so hard and sending it back to their own country? They could care less about you. I told you, Wise, I have spoken to different people, Africans, and they will never say that they're Black. They say they're Nigerian, they're Somalian. They will never say that they're Black. But somehow or the other, this man is going to pick up a weapon to say he's defending them. And the thing is, then these people will be upset when martial law comes into place. They will be upset when martial law comes in place and say, Trump, you are being a tyrant and a dictator because you put martial law. But crazy people are getting weapons in their hand and saying that they're defending something they don't even understand they're defending. I watched these people yesterday. They were arresting, it was either yesterday or Sunday or Saturday. They were arresting a man who was a P3DO that assaulted 3 children. Another man that took someone's life and assaulted a little boy. P3DO. And these women, as my dear Mika says, white women, a liberal women, were out there crying tears trying to defend these people. Please make it make sense. Like, I don't know what, like, are we living in the Twilight Zone? What world are we living in that people think this makes sense? This guy that was out here talking, like y'all say he's Dominican, he Puerto Rican, I don't know where he's from, but he needs to go sit down. People like to call me a tether. No, y'all need to call him a tether because he around here co-opted this whole Black Panther. Call him a tether. Do not call me a tether. Call him a tether. Because I ain't trying to be that. He's trying to be the foundation of what used to be and doesn't even understand what it was about. Again, y'all need to stop listening to these people on the news because I've heard the Jasmine Crockett. I've heard the crazy Ayanna Presley's, the Ilhan incest, Omar. Okay? I've heard all of them yell and say that ICE is slave catchers, and it's like some kind of trigger for Black people. Did they say slave? Oh my gosh, did they say slave? Oh, we have to pick up arms. They said slave. Slave. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Can y'all not stop and use some common sense?
Rick, that's something, ain't it?
Oh my God. Why? I don't know why you be doing this to me. You be getting me so hyped. Before noon. Listen, please, people. Why give y'all some books? What were the two books? You said Rules for Radicals?
Rules for Radicals and Rules for Restoration.
Y'all need to go read. Go read. As Pastor Mitchell says in 28:19, you do not know because you have not read. Read those books. Read the Bible. Get some wisdom. Because your indoctrination, because I know y'all say it's a degree in education. No, it's your indoctrination has y'all walking around here stupid.
Put the link in the contact, please.
I will.
Comments. Put the links in the comments.
I'll throw it in there. Edie, I'll give you the
Okay, Rick, that's what's up.
I thought they were against guns, the liberals. And now
They love guns all of a sudden now. Right, I thought the liberals don't like guns. They embracing the Black Panther with the guns.
Black Panther name. I'm going to call them black cats or black kittens. I really just hate
It's crazy.
I like black kittens. I like that.
They go for anything.
And so these peeps are willing to kill actual Americans to protect illegal immigrants in America. I have a problem with that. My dad was an immigrant. My 3 half-brothers are immigrants, and they loved this country up until the day my dad died. He was so proud to be an American, and if you asked him where he was from, he would say America. He wouldn't say Lebanon, he would say America, and he loved America. These people do not love their own country. Sure. And that man, that leader, first of all, let's get some better shades. Like, come on, let's get shades. And he should be arrested. He should be arrested. Is that not domestic terrorism? You are threatening the American people.
That's right. Lock them up.
Doing their job. You should be arrested. And it is always though. White liberal women. I don't know why. I don't know. And Renee, when that happened, they were taunting she tried to run him over. Okay, and so she got shot. And they said, we had whistles, they had guns. What are you talking about? She was driving a 4,000-pound missile at a human. That is a weapon. A car is a weapon. So sit all the way down. Sit all the way down. That's all I have to say. I'm here to too, Crystal. I'm here to this.
Right here.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to get you guys all so worked up, man.
I was okay.
Gracious. Celeste, tell me that you're upset with me as well, okay? Just go ahead and make it drop.
No, I'm not upset with you. I am slightly incensed, but I do not blame you for it. There's just so much in all of this. This is really being able to look at the bad mistakes and poor decisions of us as a society all coming home to roost at one time. And again, woe is us. This is what happens when you drive fathers out of the home. There used to be a time when you could depend on the father to manage the natural aggression and restlessness of the son. Now that the fathers are gone, we have only the state to depend on to do that. And we can see that the state has been a very poor father in this respect. And what they have done now in the name of compassion and of tolerance is to throw these people loose among us. And so now we have got certainly 2, maybe more generations of young men that have not been taught how to manage their own natural aggression and their restlessness out in the world, looking for purpose and meaning that they apparently can't find through work or through building something. And so now their decision is to come to the society and use their force to tear it and us all down. This is what happens when you don't have responsible men and fathers leading and at least having a voice in the community and in the affairs of what is going on. And as far as, I don't know if he's Copulation, I don't know what he is, but as far as whatever he is from the Black Panther Party, first of all, stop lying. Black people in this country, all right, we just off Martin Luther King, so now I got to do it. Black people have never had a movement for liberation in this country.
Like and subscribe.
Not now, not ever.
Let's get to 1,000.
Go back and look at your history. NAACP was founded by white people. Urban League was founded by white people. They always put a black face on top of it so that they could hide their nefarious money and their nefarious ideologies in a black face. Stop getting used. The civil rights movement was initiated by and funded by the Rockefellers and the Ford Foundation. Stop this idea. Black people, sit down. You have never had a legitimate, organic movement for liberation at any time, anywhere in this country. And in fact, the only people who put a stop to this is white conservatives. That's who, in fact, liberated you. It was not you marching. It was not you going against the dogs and the hoes and Vulcana and all the rest. It was not you. Your best friend, I hate to tell you, your best friend and liberator has been the white conservative. You ought to go somewhere and say thank you.
You better thank a conservative.
That's right.
Thank a conservative. Yes.
That's right, exactly. Shout out, Kamala. Thank you. Another compliment.
Oh my goodness.
Damn.
Go ahead and print that one too.
Yes,
She came with it.
I know it's happening. It's happening. Get it in the
watch. Oh boy, but at least we got some joy out of that. I hope you feel better.
Absolutely.
Listen, you know, these Black Panthers are doing the same thing that Black Lives Matter did. They're trying to get paid. That's all they're doing, trying to get paid. They saw how much money the Black Lives Matter got. I bet you right now you go and check, they got a GoFundMe page set up. They got all kinds of things set up to get some money. And they may pull some cash too, because they got enough stupid people out there to support them. Amen. But it's nothing but a grip, man. This is a bunch of baloney. Proverbs 14:7 says, go from the presence of a foolish man when you do not perceive the words of knowledge in his mouth. People learn how to listen to the right person. You recognize a fool when you see one and hear one, and you won't have to be all stirred up and ready to go out and shoot somebody and go to jail. And you don't want to don't go too far, because we have more guns than you have. And I tell you right now, you do not want this kind of craziness going on in our nation. You need to think this thing through. Do not let these demons who want to disrupt our nation motivate you to get involved with it. Sit down and think. Get the books that Brother Wise just recommended. It's going to be in the description down below. Get the books. Read a book. Sit down. Listen carefully to what's being said from our side so that you don't go off into oblivion. This is very serious. These people that are talking about picking up guns and shooting folks, this is very serious. This is demonic. And you need to recognize when you're being manipulated by demons. Do not let them provoke you to do crazy things that you're going to regret and that our nation may eventually regret. These people don't love America. A lot of them want to see America get disrupted so that they can take over. You need to understand the grip. This is a game they're playing. And if you do not recognize it, you're going to be a part of this corruption, and you're going to be a part of the blame. So I'm just saying, let's wake up.
Super chastic. We'll keep it moving. Shout out to BGB with the $2 super chat. Says real men have been intentionally run off. Shout out to Carter for the $5 super chat. Says that man is from the Black Panthers. Better watch his step. That so-called brother is definitely being used. Is that we don't understand their tactics. So Les, you're absolutely right. When you brought up Saul Alinsky and Rules for Radical, I mean, you were 100% spot on.
Yeah.
And when you look at their tactics, I mean, they're following the blueprint, to a T. They're following the blueprint. The problem is that a lot of Americans, they have no idea. They probably never heard, of what you just of the book that you discussed on Friday. They probably never heard it before, and they definitely, aren't familiar with these people's tactics. So, people need to get aware. Crystal, you hit the nail on the head, man. The people perish for lack of knowledge.
That's right. Yep. Sadly, a lot of Christians don't know about it, and that's sad. Yeah. They really don't understand. And that's because you're supposed to be the front line of truth. You can't when you side with them, you're playing a dangerous game, and you're more accountable. You have to understand that the Bible says that those that should know are more held more accountable than those who don't know. Mm-hmm. So in God's eyes, a Christian that supports false information and false ideals. You are more accountable than the center is.
Yeah. We're going to keep it moving. Hit the like button for me, if you could.
Like and subscribe, everybody.
Jay Witt. Y'all go over there and support Jay Witt.
Thank you guys for sticking around with me. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Says, these Black Panthers are just as soft as Marvel Comics reimagined. It's a reimagined character for a modern audience. Appreciate it.
So true.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Shout out to LJ coming through with the $2 super chat. Says Black Kid Roar sounds like a LJ, you always trying to get me to make some sound effects or something along those lines. That ain't me. That is not me.
We were there for you.
I appreciate you guys stepping in. Shout out to Clay coming through with the $5 super chat. Says, can you please read John 15 and purify this chat with the word, bless these beautiful people. Appreciate you. Well, we're going to go over to your favorite politician, Jasmine Crockett. I think that's Crystal's favorite. We're going to play her. She obviously is running for Senate. And there's a couple of clips that I want to play of her. But opening it up, she was at Tyrese's concert out in Texas. And yeah, she went full hood.
This is about us. It is about reclaiming who we are. They want to try to act like we are the outsiders, but the
Right, Everett, yeah.
we ain't no colonizers.
They sure had. They took the Bibles out of church, and they did that. That was a problem too.
The only home that we know, and they have sold us a promise of America that meant that we would all have an opportunity. But right now, a lot of people's dreams are being dashed. They are telling us that we are less than. I am here to tell you that we are more than, especially when we stand together. So I just got to say that I love my brother Tyrese. A lot of people don't know who it is that I do know because we have genuine relationships. It's a lot of people that really lack courage in this moment. But my homeboy said, listen, I'm going to be in your city.
Come out on stage.
You gotta be here. And I was like, I may be in Houston because, Oak Cliff, where you at? The Cliff know who I am, right? DeSoto, where you at? Yeah. GP, where you at? All right, so the point is, Arlington.
Swear the truth. Swear the truth. What's up? How you doing?
I know y'all know who I am, and I know that y'all know that I'm about this life.
Like and subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000.
You gotta come back home to Dallas.
Or more.
I went all the way through East Texas, but my God said, "You are coming on stage for me." I see a lot of women up front. How many of y'all got your bestie with you? Right? Let me tell you, I love this man. I know y'all do, because y'all right up front. Y'all doing the most. I know y'all do.
They're not doing the most. That's love.
This is pure racism. I don't know why we want to tinker around with it and pretend as if it's something other than what it is. I like to call a thing a thing. And he has told us time and time again who he was when he talked about certain people being from certain shithole countries. Those are his words. Only reason I'm cussing in this moment. When he said things like, they are eating the cats and dogs. We knew exactly what we were getting. And some people are saying, I don't know how we got here, but I do. Because we know that dehumanizing, I believe that you said something to the effect of cruelty and humiliation are the point. That's what you said, Miss Patty. Because when we look at other places, say places that did things like, go door to door, looking for people, as they had to hide out, say, in an attic. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Or the images that I have seen of people being attacked by law enforcement, whether we're talking about dogs or fire hoses, it seems very reminiscent of something that we have seen before in this country. And then people get offended and try to say I'm too black, but the reality is that y'all never let the fact that I am black go.
So I'm going to be clear about one thing. I know my good Black history. And so when I look and I say, and I will say it loud and proud because the DH secretary had a few choice words for me, but this looks like modern day slave patrols. And they have been sanctioned by this Supreme Court. Whoever thought we would live in a country that progress looks like having a Supreme Court that says, yes, it is okay to look at somebody or to listen to their accent and give permission to grab them. The last time that I checked, ICE is only supposed to be doing immigration enforcement. And right now we have a record number of U.S. citizens that have not only been arrested, but as we saw with Renee, that have been killed, that have been maimed, that have been bullied, that have been brutalized.
Renee went to where they was at.
Arrested.
Renee went to where the ICE was at. She drove, 4 hours? Dropped the kids off at the daycare, went to go fuck with the ICE people. That's her fucking fault. Accountability.
Y'all, we are living with an abuser right now. That is who Trump and his administration is. And frankly, I think we all have a little bit of PTSD. But if you know anything about a domestic abuser, the one thing about them that you need to know is that they are some of the biggest cowards that you will ever find. What they can't stand is when you actually fight back.
Right. She just talking loud.
Thank you
That's
so
it.
much
All
for
talk.
everybody in Minnesota.
She all talk, no policies, no nothing. No new laws been written, nothing. She just want to be a TikTok star. Or NBA, what's that, MS Now probably? Yeah, all that trash.
But it is time for our entire country to stand together. Because if you don't recognize that we are all in the same sinking ship, whether you are Black, white, Latino, African, whoever you are, the reality is that we have an administration that has decided that they are going to ignore our constitutional rights, and we will not stand for it. Otherwise, our democracy will fall. So,
did I just hear this broad say that she knows her history and ICE agents look like slave catchers to her, while at the same time representing a party that was behind catching slaves? I mean, you can't make this stuff up, you guys. So
this is how you know a lot of you don't know your facts. You're mad because they told you to be mad. The information is right there. The numbers right there. All you got to do is go do your own research.
It's wild how short people's memories are. Under Obama administration, 56 people died under ICE custody. 56. That's not a conspiracy. That's public record. According to the ACLU, under Obama, under ICE, failures of medical care, ICE malpractice. The list is long as to why and how these deaths occurred. And somehow, no mass riots. Obama deported over 3 million people. Let's not forget that, people. So many of my videos, millions, and a lot of them were fast removals. No real hearing, no judge, no full due process. And here's the part liberals
Got their ass up out of here.
Yeah, that Tom Homan, he was running enforcement under Obama. And during that time, he was given an award back in 2015 for his work with ICE. Even Democratic states allowed ICE to do their job under Obama. Here's my thing. If you're going to be mad, be consistently mad. Liberals were not mad when ICE was doing their job. All 8 years with Obama, they weren't mad in the streets. Now, I'm not saying that deaths don't matter. They always do. I'm saying the outrage only appears when it's politically convenient.
Boom.
Man. Wow. We'll start with Edie. We'll give you the first word. You can go wherever you want to go. I know it's a lot.
Like and subscribe.
I can't believe he had the nerve to wear a cross on his neck. And why was Jasmine yelling when she had a microphone? That always confuses me. Why are you yelling? You have a microphone. We can hear you. I concur with the sentiments of the last video where they only get upset when it's convenient for them. Separate parties can do the same thing, but it will only be condemned if the other party is deemed, I don't know, racist, homophobic, all the things that they like to call Trump and our current administration. So she's a despicable human. She's inciting more violence by saying people in Minnesota, good for you. Okay, so when that spreads across the country and American citizens who are just doing their jobs are shot and killed, she'll be applauding that? Is that what I'm supposed to take from what she was saying. People in Minnesota, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Keep going into the churches, keep running people over. Let's have the Black Cats come out with their assault rifles and shoot everybody. That's fine. So she's promoting terrorism, in my opinion. She should not be allowed to set foot in any political landscape. Like, she should just be barred from all of that. She doesn't have the best interest of the American people in mind. She wants to support those who will support her, meaning the replacements, as we've heard mentioned earlier in the program. Brought people here to replace you, to get the vote, and let's just call it what it is. But the main thing was, I was shocked that Tyrese had. So that's all I have to say.
So let's.
How dare Jasmine Crockett harken back to the Anne Frank hiding in the attic and the Nazi Party, when in fact it was the National Socialist Party, which was the equivalent of Germany's Democrat Party. So what we are finding now is wherever we find Democrats, we find racism, we find the desire to enslave, and where and when they cannot enslave, we find death. This seems to be their track record. Everywhere you look, this is what they have done. So to have someone like Jasmine Crockett talk about this looks like modern day slave patrols, well, who would know better than you as a leading Democrat? Somebody should ask her. I'm willing to, if it is modern day slave patrols, certainly your party should be able to call it, because you all are the masters of that. We haven't seen anybody pretty much anywhere do any slave patrols but y'all. So this is on you, and it should be laid at their feet. And in that spirit, what every American-loving patriot should do immediately is post that picture on their square on X and everywhere else of Obama giving the medal to Tom Homan, and make them defend it. Make them say why it was okay for Obama but not for Trump. Put that picture up. Wherever you are, you have a digital presence. If you love America and if you care about preserving America, and I'm not talking even about in the long run, I'm talking about in the next 60 days. Because who knows what these people, well, we do know if you read the book, what these people intend for the immediate future. I said before, they are losing, and they're refusing to lose. And people who will not lose can own, the only other option is to destroy. Put the picture up and make them defend their record. Turn Saul Alinsky, I believe rule number 4 or number 9 says make your end.
The industrialized fraud schemes in Minnesota are on notice, and they're getting cleaned out one building at a time.
They terrorized his 5-year-old grandson.
Wow.
And never asked for IDs before pulling him out in his underwear into the bitter cold, releasing him an hour later.
Well, that's their side of the story.
Man, a U.S. citizen, lived with 2 they are looking for, but his family disputes that, saying he only lives with relatives and they don't know.
Well, then those are his relatives.
And new this morning, allegations that some detained by ICE were denied access to legal counsel, including protester William Vermi, a U.S. citizen, seen here being arrested after filming ICE officers near his house.
Appreciate you guys staying with me.
Whenever
Appreciate you staying with me.
something like this, it's always because they're getting in the faces of federal agents. Meanwhile, we're learning that fraud in this country is a nationwide problem at this point.
Yeah, but isn't this a daycare? That's me trying to enroll my baby into 40 daycares across Columbus, Ohio. That received over $42 million from government programs designed to feed kids from 2017 to 2025. It turns out they were claiming to feed far more meals than they actually provided. And this little office is the only address that could ever be found. Were these 40 daycares that received money from this nonprofit legit, or are they shell businesses operating as a front? This building is complete trash. Although I'm a 1-year-old, what if I in an application, like, what's the report of this?
It's not worded up. It's sensitive because
That's a daycare? That's not a daycare. That's like a building that you can't even set foot in.
Okay, definitely a ton of kids there. I'm trying to get some childcare.
Wow.
Not even a hello, how are you? An empty building?
Where's the
with a bunch of
kids?
trash bags? In 2 minutes of me knocking, someone came, dropped off a bunch of kids, and that was that. Next up, Al Shafiqi. Let's
So,
see if they've said it.
Tyler Oliveira's video here makes it look like there's some sort of cover-up going on in Ohio as well.
I don't know if anyone's here. The place appears to be fully empty.
Whoa!
Hello, does it look like a daycare? No, looks like a small prison complex.
They all kind of look like
What are your
that
thoughts
for
on the
some reason.
fraudsters that are out there?
I feel like anybody that's doing that actually be punished for it.
Sunrise Child Care and Learning Center. He brought me in. Brand new interior.
Thank you.
There you guys.
Help me out subscribing.
I am not even checking your hand. I just see that you are recording here.
What are you talking about? You're a highly reviewed daycare. I'm trying to get some child care for the kids.
You want it?
Yeah.
You shouldn't come and take a picture.
No, it's not king. What is this? What is this? Gonna fall in?
Yes, that's not your damn
Whoa.
business.
Why are you
Place is
24/7
falling apart.
surveillance though? Hey,
Let me see your
I'm not gonna give you my ID.
It's not ID.
You give me your ID.
No, what is it?
I was born and raised in America.
not.
What are you talking about? I'm trying to get daycare for my kid. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is insane. Just the level of confrontation. No place that's
Thank you,
legit
thank you.
has a problem with a camera.
What about?
It's a problem.
Oh, the police are there.
Yes.
Have a great day.
Yes.
I literally can't. You don't understand the First Amendment. I'm on the sidewalk. You're making this work. Go there and just help the kids, man.
Wow.
You're such a good guy.
How many of these are there?
Look at the fun gate, man. Would I ever bring my kid here? No. This area is surrounded by
Nice place.
To get in school, there is a playground. Would never bring my child here. I've called the phone number.
Crazy.
Nobody answered. Let's see if we can knock on the door. Hey there.
That's
you guys
the
have,
door.
Like an application or something?
Yes, no, I get that.
Okay. And if I just fill this out, I can bring it back today?
Okay, so they're being helpful. There's people here.
Thank you.
US dollars?
It sure seems like this is not isolated to just one state.
Welcome back. We are turning now to the Big Apple, where
Oh,
new
New York City.
multi-million-dollar fraud schemes are coming to light. Just this week, 2 scammers pleaded
Wow.
guilty to a $68 million fraud scheme tied to the state's Medicaid home care program.
And it's an adult daycare center. It's like no matter where in the country these programs exist, they just get robbed by criminals.
While New York's consumer-directed personal assistance program is meant to make things easier for loved ones who need care, fraud is nothing new. Back in 2018, a man arranged for friends and family members to be paid as home caregivers for his sick mom.
That's exactly
Later,
what it is.
investigators found out that his mom wasn't even in the country. She was living in Bangladesh.
Wow.
And during home inspections, his brother impersonated her to keep the fraud going.
His brother
Back in
impersonated his
2024, Governor
mother.
Kathy Hochul calling CDPAP a, quote, racket and one of the most abused
But why
programs
doesn't
in
she
the
shut it
entire
down?
history of the state of New York. News Nation
Shut it down.
reached out to the governor's office for comment on the recent fraud charges, and a spokesperson for the governor tells me she has, quote, taken steps to fix the system by cutting out hundreds of middlemen.
I don't know how you can have these types of programs without an army of auditors to check up on these programs and make sure that people aren't scamming the system.
In Minnesota, we saw the Quality Leering Center.
Yes, the
and
Leering
after
Center.
your video was published, a
That was the
manager said
first
there was
one.
no fraud going on whatsoever. What is your response to that kind of denial based on what you saw?
Yeah, everyone says they're
at the
innocent.
exact same time when he's telling that group of people
Thank you. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, guys.
is on a live stream saying that building was closed a week ago. He got caught.
Thank you, guys.
lying,
Thank you.
And now it has been officially been shut down once again.
It preceded the governor's decision, Governor Walz, to abandon his reelection plans.
Yeah, he dropped out.
Do you think there'll be any accountability, though, for him? Do you think that he knew more about this, given his decision to leave the governor's race, so much so that it would impact his ability to get reelected?
Walz has been talking about getting rid of fraud since 2019. So to think that he didn't know about it happening from 2019 to 2016, it's impossible.
That's
Literally
impossible.
Impossible.
Okay. Well, some of your questions some of the people you question in your videos have accused you of targeting them for their ethnicity or religion. Let's take a listen.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
the
wanna
big
see-
controversy.
Change the freedom of religion. Say, listen, you don't want Muslims.
What's this guy talking about? This has nothing to do with fraud.
No.
Nothing to do with fraud.
When I go into
we're
your
talking about
comments,
fraud.
You got caught.
You're going around
It could have been any religion or race. It's just Somalis, y'all got caught. Your race of people got caught. That's it. Fraud is bad. Fraud is bad.
Doing your reporting.
And that's how these scammers who are engaged in fraud intimidate elected representatives. Now, I don't think for a second that Tim Walz didn't know about any of this and wasn't okay with it, because he very well may have benefited politically from this. But these scammers, what they do is they say, hey, Governor Hochul in New York, if you don't want to fix the system, if you want to shut it down, well, you're actually attacking our community, and our community is going to be really upset, and that kind of thing can scare politicians. The New York thing is very new. The Minnesota thing, on the other hand, it's the biggest in the country, and it's allegedly been like that for over a decade.
Yeah, I learned about the fraud, for instance, in Minnesota back in June, because a lot of locals were telling me about it when I was there.
That's so crazy.
The way that we're targeting the fraud in Minnesota is simply by going to the state of Minnesota website and going to the locations of these
It's all
places.
Public information.
It just so happens to be that the majority of them, actually all of them that we have been to, are Somalians. And when it comes down to them being charged, and the people that have been charged for committing fraud inside of Minnesota, 89% of them are Somalians. And so that's just a fact of the matter about what's happening inside of Minnesota.
Yeah, it's not a deliberate
Seems like a way
thing.
to distract away from what you're actually finding and seeing there.
Right.
But we're learning that this is not just a daycare problem.
Nope.
News Nation's Rich McHugh has reported on millions of dollars paid to assisted living facilities owned by a man under indictment.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In another
That's
money
happening.
laundering scheme. So why do you think it is that Minnesota hasn't been able to limit the opportunities to defraud taxpayers of
They don't want to.
millions, if not
No, I don't
billions
want
of
to.
dollars?
They don't want to. And there are politicians who benefit from these schemes existing. If there's a politician and they pass a law that allows scammers to set up these home care things or these fraud compounds in a place that looks like a residence and is impossible to audit because they live there with their immediate family and the place is daycare and their kids have a playroom, there are scammers who want politicians to set up programs like that.
It's also become the target of sophisticated scammers.
The actual program itself is for a good cause.
Yeah,
but
they all
you
are.
have bad people out there who are taking advantage of federal and state
Maybe
money.
it's a bad
Just this
program.
past week, 2 New Yorkers pled guilty to a $68 million fraud scheme tied to CDPAP,
Wow.
billing Medicaid for services at Brooklyn-based adult daycares that
Wow.
never actually happened. These fraudsters
That's
were
amazing.
large-scale recruiters who bribed patients with laundered cash and billed Medicaid over $68 million for services that were not provided. New York
That's
Attorney
so
General
crazy.
Letitia James announcing a separate $1 million plus
Oh, a
conviction
separate
this
one.
week, also involving fake billing and kickback schemes tied to the state's Medicaid program. Unfortunately for the state,
And this is a transportation company. So we've got the fake daycares, and then we got the transportation companies that are supposed to drive around all the fake patients. It's like there is nobody checking in on any of this stuff. But the
Nobody
thing that's
checking.
really sad is how these armies of rioters are now taking to the streets in these sanctuaries where these schemes are being uncovered,
Right.
fighting to get rid of the people that will actually shut them down.
It's been a riot since day one, Charlie. I mean, out here, they've been trying to cover it up. The legacy media in particular, they don't want to show
No.
what's actually going on out
Of course
here.
not.
I have to do this live shot.
It doesn't fit
from
their narrative.
Several blocks away. You can see the police lights in the distance, but I can't go over there anymore because I will be attacked, even with police lights over
Yeah.
there. That is not a protest. My presence as an independent journalist there
That's
does
crazy.
not make me an agitator, but they don't like the fact that we're over there inside of it with our cameras, recording what is actually going on and exposing this as a riot. Waltz and Fry
Right.
have not been able to cover this up, and we're not going to let them.
Right, and that's the thing. They want to cover up everything going on here. They want to cover up the fraud scandals. And now that there's independent journalists that are out on the streets looking into this stuff, getting attacked, having their cameras in their possession stolen,
thank you.
they want to cover that up too. It's all a big game to get rid of law enforcement so these scams can continue and so people can escape accountability.
So, we showed a clip of you getting your camera stolen from you.
Terrible.
But there's another part of that we didn't get to show that I think is a pretty galling moment.
So crazy,
And
that's
that is
dangerous.
Where after you speak to the police, you call the police come.
Yeah, he called the
What
cops.
does the police tell you?
Yeah, this is where it gets really scary.
Get the
They
fuck out of
told me
town.
that I was the person that needed to leave, that I needed to get out of this area.
Yeah.
I'm an American citizen.
Look at
born
this.
and bred here that is being told that I'm not allowed to be in an American city. And if that's not alarming to people, I don't know what could possibly be.
The fact that someone's getting robbed on the street in a drive-by snatch and grab like this, and the police say
Check
that
this
the
out.
person who drove their car on the sidewalk isn't at fault because the person who got robbed, the victim, is being blamed for this whole thing because since they're a journalist, they must be antagonizing people.
Hilarious.
That's just ridiculous, but that goes to show you in these sanctuary cities, you got a sanctuary police force, and who do they answer to? They answer to the mob and the mayor.
The fact that the thing that I did that they didn't like was that I was there with a camera. I didn't get out of my vehicle.
That's not a crime.
I was recording from inside the vehicle when I ended up getting robbed. But according to the police out there, you know, a felony robbery is not enough for them to go after the perpetrator. I'm the
even
one
though they
that
have a
had to
plate
end up
number.
leaving the area. And that's a quote. They said, you need to leave.
That's so crazy.
It's crazy to me that this is the point that we're at.
There's no law
We're
here.
on our own out here, and we have to take our cities back.
Right.
We cannot allow no-go zones to be set
Thank
up in otherwise, you know, beautiful states like this. And Tim Walz and Mayor Fry are willing to do it.
And if the police refuse to intervene when there's a crime, that area becomes a no-go zone for potential victims. And who are those people? Those are people who disagree with the fact that these mobs are out on the streets rallying to protect fugitives and scammers.
Something that we saw in St. Paul, nearby to Minneapolis.
Oh, what's going on
just
here?
within the last 24 hours or so, where federal agents said that they were on an operation to track down 2 convicted that lived in that area.
Wonderful. Nasty.
Unfortunately, they were met by other people that live in that neighborhood and in the Twin
That's so
Cities,
stupid.
honking their horns and trying to warn the neighbors
Why?
about ISIS presence.
Awful.
Take a look.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest. That's who you guys are protecting.
That's crazy. They'll protect the worst of the worst.
Okay, we
because
just
they don't like
learned,
ICE.
however, that instead
this
of the 2 convicted being pulled from that actual house,
This raid.
instead it was an American citizen who actually lived with them. That's the reason why Tricia McLaughlin says that those 2 that they were originally after are now considered at large.
Oh, wow.
On top of that, we're also seeing increased demonstrations all across the city, including in houses of worship, where some 40 demonstrators actually get.
You know what's so crazy? The people that went to this church and raided this church, they were all upset about ICE being in their community. They're making a big deal about ICE being in their community, but the problem is because this is a sanctuary city that releases fugitives who aren't supposed to be in the country. They're here illegally. They've committed heinous crimes. Lets them go live in apartments. ICE has no choice but to go looking for them in apartments. ICE doesn't want to go raid an apartment looking for somebody. They don't want to go to some fraud compound and clear the place out because the people in the fraud compound that ICE is looking for, they were probably in jail at one point. These are criminals after all. They're on ICE's radar with rap sheets. If these sanctuaries would just turn people over to ICE, nobody would have to go to any community. None of this would be happening, and the protesters would get the very thing they say they want, which is for ICE not to be there.
Pentagon has ordered 1,500 combat troops to prepare to deploy to Minneapolis in response to anti-ICE protests.
That's
The news
crazy.
Coming, as sources tell NBC News, the FBI is asking agents to voluntarily travel to the Twin Cities for temporary assignments.
Oh, they're doing a
Anti-ICE
search too, huh?
demonstrations, meanwhile, show no signs of letting
The
up.
mobs don't want
The
that,
Justice
but they
Department is now
won't stop
bound to
people from going into
investigate
churches.
Protesters who disrupted a service yesterday at a church where they believed a top ICE official serves as a pastor. Officials familiar with the matter also tell NBC News that the DOJ is investigating whether Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry conspired to impede federal.
It looks like they have, because a lot of their comments have done nothing but incite insurrection, and there's evidence that their offices may have coordinated with various protest groups. That's the allegation anyway, and that's why there's now this investigation.
And obviously it would be deeply concerning if the federal government is targeting someone for a product that is quite literally my job. It is my responsibility to speak on behalf of Minneapolis
No, it's your
residents.
responsibility
My
not to
responsibility
encourage
to do
lawlessness.
everything possible to keep our city safe. And so while I haven't received a subpoena or anything else at this point, this should be deeply concerning, not just for Minneapolis, but for anybody out there. I mean, this is stuff that happens in other countries. Shouldn't happen in
You're in a sanctuary
NBC News
city.
correspondent Maggie Vespa is
This is so ridiculous. These sanctuary mayors, they want zero accountability for any of what's going on.
John, before we get to that, I want to get to the breaking
That's crazy.
news we have just heard. The FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Walz.
So there may be consequences.
Bring you more information as we get it on those subpoenas. The federal building is diminishing every day, it seems, but the war of words between local officials and the Trump administration is only getting stronger. The latest flashpoint, as you mentioned, that protest at a St. Paul church on Sunday.
Such a ridiculous
several dozen protesters disrupted the service, screaming at members of the congregation and screaming anti-ICE slogans.
The church has nothing to do with ICE.
In the meantime, the president himself is urging DHS to make a lot more of the number of criminals that are being arrested during.
Look at this protest. They've got the flag of the country. They're outside an ICE detention center, and these
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Law enforcement. It's the mobs that need consequences too, not just the elected officials, or this is going to keep happening.
Metro surge. The president saying on Truth Social, quote, show the numbers, names, and faces of the violent criminals and show them now. The people will start supporting the patriots of ICE instead of the highly paid troublemakers, anarchists, and agitators. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said on X, quote, stop terrorizing people with your fake PR about criminals in Minneapolis, because the only people on the streets of Minneapolis you are arresting are law-abiding citizens.
That's impossible. That is so.
She married to a white man, but he keep on talking about white supremacists. Make it make sense. How?
Such a lie. These people that are getting arrested by ICE, who might be a U.S. citizen, how did they get arrested by ICE? ICE isn't even looking for you if you're a U.S. citizen. You got to do something special to get arrested by immigration enforcement if you're in the United States legally and you are a citizen here. You got to go out of your way to interject yourself in a situation that doesn't even involve you to wind up in handcuffs. And they have found people
Thanks for joining in
the country illegally. Look at this. This is Minnesota right here. Got a fraudster. And he's a gang member. Look at that. Look at this guy. Shahal Osman. I'm not going to get his name right, but he's a criminal. He's arrested. Oh, yeah. No criminals in Minnesota. Come on. You literally have to come out and lie to the American people if you're going to be against getting folks like this off the street. That's what I happen to think. What do you think? I'll see you in the next video.
Holy macadamia nut, everybody. I have got some absolute barn burners to share with you today. It is January 20th, 2026. It has been 1 year, 365 days since America made the right choice. And President Trump and the man just did a 2-hour press conference before boarding the plane to go to Davos. And he answered reporters' questions, and it was in fuego, fire, unbelievable, as usual, completely obliterating the narrative that he's got. I mean, can you believe this? These radical, extreme anti-American liberals actually are trying to charge Trump with cognition problems when we had a stumbling, mumbling, shuffling vegetable in chief who couldn't do 2 minutes of answering reporters' questions, let alone 2 hours, without sounding like somebody who should have been buried and taking a dirt nap for a very long time. I often used to say this. He's already dead. Somebody just forgot to tap on his shoulder and remind him. I'm going to share with you some amazing clips from this conference. He went after these ridiculous hooligans in Minneapolis, Minnesota, causing absolute bedlam, and he took them head on, and he even called out Don Lemon. And then I'm going to share with you something that I need your help with. I need you to stick around till the end after I go through all the highlights, because this is really, really important. You can actually make a difference and make a change, just like you have in the past so many times when I've exposed people for doing heinous things in powerful positions. So please, I promise you won't be disappointed. I promise you can make a change. Stick around to the end. But first, let's get into this. President Trump announcing this. He made a lot of announcements. These are just a few, saying, I just watched the footage of the church raid in Minnesota by the agitators and insurrectionists. These people are professionals. No person acts the way they act. They are highly trained to scream, rant, and rave like lunatics in a certain manner, just like they are doing. They are troublemakers who should be thrown in jail or thrown out of the country. The first to go should be Walz and fake sleazebag Ilhan Omar, who is supposedly worth over $30 million, even though she's never had anything but a government job. Investigate these corrupt politicians and do it now. I'm going to share with you footage of how he goes after Don Lemon and really, I think, succinctly and intelligently deconstructs the video where ICE agent Jonathan Ross was almost, mortally harmed when faced with a 4-ton SUV driven by that deranged lunatic who tried to run him over. He continues. The man was on a roll. The whole problem we are having with criminals in our country was caused by Sleepy Joe Biden and the radical left thugs that surrounded the resolution desk in the Oval Office. And of course, the illegal use of the auto pen. They should be in jail. But wait, there's more. This is the announcement that's really the crux of this video, because, how many times have we argued that Trump is right about everything? Every time he has a plan, a strategy, a goal, any kind of, strategic positioning on how to win, how to make America great, he's always right. And so Trump posted this: the Department of Homeland Security and ICE must start talking about the murderers and other criminals that they are capturing and taking out of the system. They are saving many innocent lives. There are thousands of vicious animals in Minnesota alone, which is why the crime stats are nationwide the best ever recorded. Show the numbers, names, and faces of the violent criminals and show them now. The people will start supporting the patriots of ICE instead of the highly paid troublemakers, anarchists, and agitators. Make America great again. And President Trump requested it, and Commander of Border Patrol Operations, Greg Bovino, who's recently connected with us, he follows us on X, answered the call. Check this out.
For too long, residents have been told that enforcing our nation's immigration laws undermines public safety. In reality, the opposite is true. When the law is not enforced, violent offenders remain free. Criminal networks expand, and the community pays the price. Our neighbors, our citizens, our friends pay the price. Rather than confront that reality of which I've just spoken, leaders like Tim Walz or Mayor Fry have relied on heated rhetoric and accusations that distract from the fact. Again, our Border Patrol agents, ICE officers, and those allied federal law enforcement agencies are out there conducting Title VIII immigration, the Title VIII immigration mission. And I'll tell you, when you have a mayor and a police chief, O'Hara, that say call 911 when ICE or Border Patrol is in the neighborhood, and then they wonder why the 911 system is overwhelmed with superfluous calls
Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Thanks for the likes.
For assistance when that is not true. So we're going to continue to be out in the community, and we're going to continue to conduct that mission, that legal, lawful Title VIII mission. And, again, I've been out with my Border Patrol agents. Marcos is out constantly with his troops.
I just have to say this really quickly. God bless you, Commander Bovino, and God bless all of our hardworking law enforcement officers who are simply doing their job. And what job is that? To keep American streets clean, safe, and get rid of these heinous criminals that are committing heinous acts, mortal harm on American citizens, law-abiding, tax-paying, hardworking American citizens every single day. God bless all of you. Let them know what you think in the comments down below. They all watch this show. let them know right now. God bless you guys. Okay, now I got to play some highlights of this absolute masterclass press conference. Here's the first clip, which I was saying, it's kind of like Trump is really like showing his amazing astuteness, his amazing adeptness at pattern recognition, and identifying and calling out what needs calling out. Here he is talking about the other woman involved in Renee Good's ICE vehicle ramming in Minneapolis and calling her a professional. Watch this. This is really succinct.
And I understand both sides of it. But when she was shot, there was another woman that was screaming shame, 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 right? You saw it. So loud. Like a professional opera singer. She was so loud and so professional. She wasn't a woman that was hurt, like, oh, my heart's injured. She was a professional. She's shame, shame. She's screaming shame, shame. I said, that's not a normal person. That's a professional. These are professional agitators and professional people that want to see our country do badly. But that's not happening because we have the hottest country anywhere in the world, despite...
We've all seen the video. I can't share the video here, else the video, this whole presentation will get taken down. But
Thank you.
that in my head. Like, wow.
Trying to get to 1,000.
What are these, and also, what are these people doing in the middle of a work week, in the middle of the afternoon? Doesn't anybody in Minnesota have any jobs, for crying out loud? And now you're seeing them in Columbus and now in
How you doing, Daisy?
Who works anymore? No, they're being paid.
Thanks for joining in.
Serious domestic.
Common Sense Channel.
I know you're all thinking what I'm thinking. Holly Weirdo, Obama, Soros. It may even go deeper than that. We need to find these people. Alex Soros is a varmint. We need to find them, charge them, imprison them, and get them out of our country. Okay, check out this next clip. It's just, he goes on, and it's just absolutely brilliant. Here he is completely destroying Don Lemon. Couldn't wait to hear this. This is fantastic. Watch.
Medical institutions from where they came. That's all they want to do. They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a loser, lightweight. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did in that church was horrible yesterday. Look at this.
So right about Don Lemon. Don Lemon actually went on, I think it was Joyless Read or one of these ridiculous racist shows, and said that the people inside the church, I shared the video yesterday, children were traumatized, crying in the laps of their parents. What's going on? It's actually a criminal charge to invade and trespass inside a church and accost people in that fashion, and Trump is right. He went on one of these shows and he actually called these innocent people who are just simply going to a house of worship to exercise their freedom of religion. He called them white supremacists. Everything has to do with race. When you got nothing, when you have nothing,
What's up, Larry Bird?
You can't support anything, just go back to your age-old crutch. Everything has to do with the fact that I'm black. It is such an insult to anybody who is black. It's such an insult to anybody who works their butt off, who may be a person of color. Because I don't even like using those words because it doesn't matter. It's so bad. Don Lemon is the worst scum of the earth. And I hope he gets what's coming in. There is a federal investigation that Pam Bondi and Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon are opening up. We'll see if anything comes of that. We've heard that many, many times before. I know it, you know it, so I'm not focusing on it. But you saw President Trump holding up these images. Here's the clip right here of him going through these criminals that are being taken off the streets by our brave law enforcement officers. Watch.
I'm going through this because I think we have plenty of time. So I'm going to this beautiful place in Switzerland. Where we'll be, I'm sure I'm very happily awaited for. In Switzerland, they don't know about this. They don't have this problem. They have other problems, but they don't have this problem. Look, killed somebody. And these are rough people. These are not, this was all allowed into our country through open borders. The dumbest policies, men and women's sports is dumb. But to me, having an open border for the world to come in, drug dealers and prisoners. Venezuela, as an example, opened their prisons into the United States. That's why one of the reasons I felt so strongly against Venezuela. Now I'm loving Venezuela. They've been working with us so well. It's been so nice. And an unbelievably nice woman. People, vicious, many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. I say, why don't you talk about that war? Because people don't know. Do you want to live with these people? International murder. These are people that are living, they're apprehended and either put in jails in their country from where they came, and the countries respect us, and so they actually put them there. In the old days, they didn't respect our country. Biden wouldn't do this because he let them all in. You know, if you didn't have open border policies of Biden, none of this, all of the time that we spend talking about Minnesota and everything else, most of them are coming from out of the country. And it's been caused by a previous administration. Look at this, one after one.
It's such a sad state of affairs in our country, ladies and gentlemen, when these brave law enforcement officers are getting rid of the worst that was let in by the previous regime. ICE doesn't cause chaos to your city. Your cities are filled with chaos, which brings ICE. And that chaos was designed, architected, and composed by the vegetable in chief and the fake borders are the worst political candidate in history, Kamala Harris. I want to just break it a little bit with a little levity. This was one of the most amazing moments here. This is why I love him so much, and I know you do too. A little levity. He got his finger almost caught in this paper clip. Anyway, watch this. It's so hilarious.
The book on accomplishments. And this is something, I'm glad my finger wasn't in that sucker. That could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. I would have gone back. What, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was nasty. I think somebody did that. I think it was him. It was my man. How were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you did.
Just love it. He did that all impromptu, no teleprompter, 2 hours earlier this morning. It was fantastic. I might go live later and do the full press conference. I don't know. So make sure you subscribe and follow. But these are the kind of people who make you have to put your head on a swivel when you take your kids to a restaurant, to the park, out for the evening with your wife, perhaps your spouse, whatever. These are the kind of people who've been causing chaos all over. And why? Because the Democrats can't win elections anymore from you and me. So they have to, think of this. They have to import their voters. It is a travesty. It is the biggest war crime, the biggest domestic terrorism we've ever seen in our country. The magnitude of this can't even be measured properly. It's insane. Okay. Let me know what your thoughts are and all that. I can't wait to hear from you. I said that you have an opportunity to help me. Here is your opportunity to help me. I have to share with you this video. Who is the vice president of Home First Choice in Ohio? She posted this video wishing.
Thank you.
Vile. Wishing for Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who we all love, to experience.
How you doing, Christian?
Traumatic injuries during childbirth. I'm going to give you fair warning. This is gruesome. It's awful. It's ugly. It's pure evil. But I need your help because this person does not belong within 500 yards of a healthcare facility. So I'm giving you fair warning. If you got little ones around you, maybe cover their ears or turn this off and watch it later. Here we go. I'm going to share the video right now.
I wish for Caroline Leavitt. She is pregnant with a baby girl, and I truly do hope that baby is so healthy. I hope she's healthy and headstrong. So headstrong, in fact, that as she is emerging into this world through Caroline's geriatric garage that she tears her from bow to fucking stern. Grade 4 tear. Like so big that when she gets out of the shower naked and walks across the room, like she accidentally picks up dog toys. Yeah. That's my wish for you, Caroline.
I told you it was bad. And this was brought to us by Chaya, who has an amazing account, Libs of TikTok. So you see her LinkedIn right there, Chanda Petri Zazaruik. You can see her first, it says February 2023 to president at the bottom of your screen. She's a vice president.
Thank you, Rock. Appreciate it, man.
Home health.
Humble guy.
You know what to do. And also, I'm going to share this with you.
Humble guy. Every now and then I jump in,
before I do,
give you my opinion, but the whole thing is to share information
actually
and learn. Thank you.
Registered nurse in Ohio, and I'm going to share with you the number. I want everybody to call this number because you've done it before. You can do it again. There you can see
Really
on the
appreciate
screen,
you. Thank you, guys.
absolutely must
100.
have her license revoked. So here's the Ohio Board of Nursing number 614-466-3947. If you're listening on the podcast, again, it's 614-466-3947. 614-466-3947. Everybody.
Oh, I believe in God, man. I don't believe in no wishes.
This monster doesn't get anywhere near
Blessings.
any health care. Shame on you. You don't deserve to work anywhere in the United States. And I hope this.
I don't believe in wishes. I don't believe in luck or the Tooth Fairy or Santa
I
Claus.
can't wait to get your comments.
The Wolf King, I hear you.
Thumbs up if you love America so we can support our mission of making common sense go viral. I also want you to share so we can get this person away from healthcare more than anything, to be honest. Even if you're watching on your TV, you can do it with your remote. Please tap that thumbs up. It really helps us out, and share this with everybody. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's free. And as always.
I'm gonna do one more video for you guys. That'll be it for tonight. One more good video. Hope you guys like it.
Mental institutions from where they came. That's all they want to do. They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a loser, lightweight. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did in that church was horrible yesterday.
Where are your people? Why are you not at Wimble every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people?
No, the freedom of the press extends to a lot of different areas. It does not extend to somebody just trespassing and being embedded with a group of rioters and being part of the group that storms inside of a church. So as our Assistant Attorney General said yesterday, we are absolutely investigating that conduct. And the fact that man, that Mr. Lemon, thought that was a good idea to do that and then to race away from it saying it was freedom of the press, well, we'll see. We'll see.
I don't think anything's going to happen to Don Lemon, in my opinion. Well, if there's a law, can we look up, is there a law against doing that?
The Face Act, something like that.
What is the law called? It's like, but I want to know what's the difference if someone goes into a wedding and objects to wedding. A wedding is different because it's not a house of worship. Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true.
What's called the FACE Act, the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. The federal law prohibits use of force, threats, intimidation, or physical instruction to interfere with religious exercise at a place of worship.
Yeah, so they
Boom.
the FACE Act for
and
sure.
the Ku Klux Klux Klan Act, the Reconstruction Era Civil Rights Act that criminalizes conspiracies to deprive people of constitutional rights through intimidation or violence. Officials suggested it could be applied to denying worshipers' rights to freely practice religion.
Yeah, the white
Gave him the book.
the white guy that had the F Trump beanie, him for sure. But if you were a part of it, you.
Thank you. Like and subscribe.
Hold up, they should be charged. And the black lady that planned it, that's what she has to say.
Levy Armstrong helped organize the protest at the Minneapolis church this weekend. Nikema also, by the way, ordained reverend. Okay, so miss her with the what you've been sending me.
She should know better then. If she's a ordained reverend, why are you going to somebody's church disrupting? If she was having her service, she'd be pissed. She'd be calling white supremacies, all type of BS if somebody came and did that to her church. Make it make sense. She's supposed to be an ordained reverend. If somebody came to her church, she'd be pissed off. And she said she known for going around from church to church, or not church to church, but just other places disrupting anyway. She's supposed to been in trouble for this.
Today, these protesters hate Jesus. She's a reverend. All right, just putting it out there. Former Homeland Security Chief of Washington, D.C., Donnell Harvin, and Trump's former acting director of ICE, Jonathan.
American Patriot, if you're still there, thank you for subscribing. American Patriot, thank you.
As far as you understand about the video that we're seeing.
Definitely a patriot here, baby.
Absolutely.
Ultra MAGA.
We went into
and that is legal. Why? That's the context.
We were invited
Ultra
into
MAGA.
the church. The pastor himself is on video calling it a public gathering, a public church service. So we were invited in, and contrary to your opening statement,
you were not invited.
saying BLM protesters busted in, that's absolutely inaccurate. As a matter of fact, most of the people who were a part of the protest were everyday, ordinary Easterwood, also serves as the director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul at the Whipple Federal
Mr.
Building.
Me Who Now, thanks for joining in. Like and subscribe.
Ordained reverend and as an itinerant preacher, I was shocked. I'm someone who believes very firmly in the gospel of Jesus Christ, and the foundation of that gospel is to love thy neighbor as you love thyself. When you contrast that to the behavior of ICE agents who have done anything but love their neighbor, as a matter of fact, they have killed.
ICE agent got nothing to do with this as far as religion. They're doing a job, which is the law of the land. The criminals didn't follow it. They came here bogus. Their visa expired. They were told to take the money and leave. A lot of options. Obama didn't get no options. Obama got their ass up out of here. Deporter in chief.
Kill their neighbor. When Renee
So
Good
MAGA's not
was
trash.
killed by ICE agent Jonathan Ross on January 7th of 2026, we realized that there is a dichotomy at work that is unsustainable. How can you be both a pastor as well as someone who unleashes ICE agents upon our community who are inflicting harm day after day after day?
First thing she said, we were invited. Then she backs it up by saying, we were invited because the pastor posted on social media that it's open to everyone. It's an open church service. So that does not mean that he reached out to you guys and told you to come in and berate the church service. That means whoever wants to come to church can come.
Worship.
You were not invited to come and do that. That is false. And then to be a reverend, not just someone who claims to be a Christian like Don Lemon, but a reverend. You, of all people, I can't throw stones, but you cannot, of all people, go into another church service because you disagree with the career path that someone in the church has chosen and stop their worshiping and claim to be a reverend.
Can't do that.
I don't know anybody who would do this. There are plenty of people at my church who
Mr. Me Who Now, what you think about that, what he just
would
said?
never stop me from
What he saying is a lie?
How could you, bro? How could you? You call yourself a Christian, bro. How could you? Like, bro, this is so wrong on so many levels. But the fact that she, the ringleader of it, is a reverend, to me, that is extreme. But it does
She's
say
an activist.
in the Bible, the preachers and the reverends are going to be held to a higher standard. So vengeance will be the Lord's. I just cannot believe this. I really can't. Well, people on the street are cooking Don Lemon. Regular people. Don Lemon is my least favorite.
Yeah, this video kind of old, but it still makes a whole lot of sense because it's talking about what's going on now.
Crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals, and now he's not doing that.
I don't think we're going. So misdemeanor is not.
It's not a criminal act. No, if you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
This guy's stupid.
It sounds like another Hispanic saying. So this idiot is saying a misdemeanor is not a crime. It literally is, though. But that's not the thing. Is if you're in the country illegally, then you could get deported. You wouldn't know that.
Right. Thank you, guys. Like and subscribe. Thank you.
I would know. If they catch me, they would.
Name is Deunta.
If I commit a misdemeanor, bro, that is literally a crime.
Yeah, she said it's not a crime. Why are they charging you? That's what she was saying.
This guy's an idiot. If I get a speeding ticket, that's a crime.
Get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
Charge at all then, if it's not a criminal act.
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
It's just
we have different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not. You're not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act. No, you're not breaking the law. No.
If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
That's not a criminal act. Well, no. If you're speeding, is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor. Right. So still breaking the law.
Okay, but if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm saying, but what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it law to come over legally? Is there a law?
There are rules that are processes that you should follow. Yes, you're breaking the rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily.
Don Lemon is a retarded.
How do you release this? Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting things mixed up.
No, sir, they are not.
He's a fucking idiot. Why would you post this clip? Just expose how stupid you are and how your argument is. Just from this to the church people, the lady that set up the church event is a fool. Oh man, she's terrible. Trying to say, this was a public gathering. You guys knew exactly what it was when you went in there. When you got in there and started tripping, you knew that was wrong.
Hey, bro,
just trying to justify it because you're an idiot.
You're a
this
reverend?
guy is an even bigger idiot. She just cooked him from his own argument. She said, "So if it's not against the law, why get charged?" He said, "Well, wait, different levels of crime. So crime." Things like, well, I shouldn't say crime, but it is. He did break the law. He said, break the law. He's like, he couldn't even justify his own argument because he's so stupid.
Don Lemon was on CNN for 17 years.
And Don Lemon is also the same one who replied to Nicki Minaj saying that she should be deported. So illegal immigrants shouldn't be deported, but Nicki Minaj should be deported.
How difference in opinion? How is CNN? We know CNN is not credible, but how could they ever be credible when you hired someone like this for 17 years? Well, and remember the video we just played the other day of CNN doing a literal documentary on ICE, and they was, glorifying it like it was a regular cool thing in 2005. He was there during that time. He was not singing this tune during that time. They're being controlled. They're being told what to do and what to care about.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America. And there's a certain...
Oh my God, no, it's because you're Don Lemon, bud. And you said we, buddy. Nobody know where your black gay ass came from. I'm talking about we. You had nothing to do with it.
He's acting like he didn't promote it. And
we came from England. Nigga, not one of our ancestors came from England. I mean, we don't know. We might be a little, Brock maybe a little bit, but
it's always mixed.
I mean, yeah, I could be too. I technically don't know. I could have a Sunny Holston moment and I'll be 25% white. Who knows, guys? But, I mean, this is what the left is saying about this situation. Once again, CNN, I mean, they just aren't credible, guys. They're not.
The activists on the street right now, they feel a kind of helplessness, right? That's how you end up bullying your way into a church. And you've been in that chair. You've been the person who was the activist and felt like lawmakers weren't doing enough. Do you understand their frustration?
This Indian-born woman, she should not be in government. I would never stop saying that. I would even go as far as say the children of immigrants shouldn't be in government. I would never support that.
So she
said, man, immigrants should only be allowed to be guests. You should only be allowed to work and live. That's it. No government, no position of power, no nothing.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But, man, she said she understood their frustration.
Trump.
She understood the people who broke into a church. Man, what is she again? She a congresswoman?
Yeah, California.
Oh, well, yeah, hey. Shouldn't be surprised. Man, the only man on CNN with some sense. Mr. Jennings.
Scott Jennings, baby, for the win.
One last summer, if I were sitting in a church right now in Minneapolis and a bunch of people burst in, I'd be on edge because last summer a shooter showed up at a Catholic church in Minneapolis and shot a bunch of kids. 2 died. I think 30 people were injured. 26 were kids. And so
Scott, right. Bring it up, Scott.
I think is probably warranted, if for no other reason than we've seen radical violence at a church in the not too distant past. We've also seen, I think, attempts to create violence and mayhem and fear in churches around the country, synagogues and other places. And so I feel like
look at that, Karen. What's wrong with you?
Golden right now to go up to and now into places of worship. It sounds like the FACE Act is what they're going to use. I've also heard today from some sources that the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, they may look at that for bringing charges to Don Lemon and these radical leftists that went into this church. I think if they don't do something to these people who did this, you're going to see it proliferate in churches across the country, and that would be
that's a fact.
Big problem.
That is a fact.
Yeah, they need to be charged.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you can't just do that.
Can't do that.
I mean,
this is
America. There's freedom of religion, whether you agree or disagree, and that counts for Christianity too. It doesn't just have to be Muslims or anything else. Christianity too. That was a great point because if people ran in on the church where I was at like that, man, and I had my piece on me, I would have been a little afraid. Like, I'm gonna be real. The guy with the F Trump beanie, oh man, they lucky they didn't get shot. Honestly, if security
that went down at my church personally.
Man,
we have security at my church.
Hey, I'm gonna be real. If they was at a black church, oh, they would have been. Hey, man, people would have had them in there tied up for real, for real. You don't run in no church and disrespect the pastor. That's insane.
That's pastor.
Hey, man, we got a new black brother on CNN. Apparently, he cooking. He a conservative.
Totally disagree. Because of what a pastor does for a living or what they're involved in politically gives no one the right. There was a child in that video who was sitting in their father's arms, shaking, confused, trying to figure out what's going on when these people burst into this church. And Lee, what I would say is people have a First Amendment right and the ability to go and protest against ICE. If they don't like ICE, be my guest, go protest. But those people in that church, I would say not but, those people in that church absolutely have a First Amendment right.
HM, right. They wouldn't have done it to a black church, but the black lady said she's a pastor. If they had came into her church, she'd be calling all type of racism and victimhood and all that bullshit. That's crazy.
To gather and worship the God of their choosing. And I'll say a point here is it is actually Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. With the day that we recognize his contribution to the country today. His mother in 1974 was shot and killed in a church because of political violence, because the KKK wanted to insert their political will over a king.
The KKK, the Democratic Party. The KKK, Democratic Party. And y'all Democrats keep fighting for that same bullshit. Get off the plantation.
Community. This is remarkably similar to that. I remember my great-grandfather telling me stories about church bombings in the South. Remarkably similar to that. Everyone at this table should have
protest is similar to the person getting shot.
Everyone at this table, please, should have absolutely no issue saying that this was wrong. It was reprehensible behavior, and this is not the appropriate way that we address our grievances in this country.
So which innocent people are and are not allowed to get shot as far as you're concerned?
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. People have a right in this country, regardless of what your political convictions are, to worship freely and safely, and no one should watch a child on camera like what we saw trembling in their father's arms
Wait
because
until
of
you
your
see what
political
ICE
convictions.
does to children
I'm sorry,
and their families.
Your political convictions do not overstep someone's ability to worship safely
No,
and
but
securely.
stop making it about worship. Did I call that into question?
I'm sorry, guys.
If
I
you're talking
respect it,
about
but there's no
children,
but. There's no but.
there's a
It's
little bit of a
full stop.
different issue because
Damn. Yeah, bro. He instantly went to, well, what about that? What about that?
I know what about.
Cook that dude.
That's insane. Yeah, I can't believe it can. It's coming down to
justify
this.
this.
If you justify this one, stay away from me.
Yeah, shout out Tim Paris. He cooked them. He kept it 100. They tried to deflect and have false equivalencies, and he did it. That I respect him for that.
He said,
Shout out
there's
to him.
no but here. Like, how are you taking up for Don Booty Lenny?
Like and subscribe, everybody.
Protesters to go into a church.
Roll to 1,000. Like and subscribe.
I don't. I think that when they find out that someone that's supposed to be speaking for the community in church is found out to be an ICE, like a federal agent that is running ICE in their communities, they have the right to go in there. Churches have always been an open door. And from my understanding in the videos that I saw, those protesters were not violent in any way.
These people are the same people calling the right divisive because of comments that Trump says, but yet you condone someone running into a church because they don't agree with you. Who is truly divisive? Just being real. Whole white supremacy.
Yeah,
Wow.
white men are evil, he says. I'm a Christian, he says, but he has a gay white husband.
Cock sucking. Did you really
insane.
tweet that?
Yes.
Cock sucking women. Wow.
Says she should be deported.
Hey, Nicki Minaj is a real one, bro. Wow. Was she the best female artist ever was? I do not like DL Hughley. Oh, yeah, man.
The protest is fundamental to American society. This country started in a protest, and it's freedom of expression. What? People have a right to lift up their voices and make their peace, and none of us are immune from the voice of the public. So, quite honestly, I think that you got the First Amendment, freedom of religion, and freedom of opinion,
So who's fucking who?
and I think that it's just something to be.
They are not conservatives. Them are three betas. Ain't no way they conservative.
Man, I honestly can't back at you wrong. Like, I mean, think about, hey, if I was in real life with someone and they, like, if we were talking about the situation and they agreed with what happened to the people in the church, I literally would not look at you the same anymore. They got black people online blasting Don Lemon. Like, I mean, it's bad, man. I don't see it. You have to be a super extremist. You have to super extremist to think that was okay. To condone that? Come on,
That's
bro.
crazy.
Yeah, something has to be done, man. I mean, hey, Scott made the best act, bro. Like, it's been people that have been killed in churches. Yeah. So to run in there, causing commotion in a church, you don't know what nobody was thinking, bro. Like, I would be terrified if you came in my church screaming, running, and run up to the pastor. You just seen that video earlier, the guy walking up to the pastor with the gun. Reacted that a long time ago. The bishop got stabbed a couple years ago. Wasn't it the same dude? I don't think it was the same dude. No, it was a black guy that they got the gun pointed at him, and it was the famous bishop that got stabbed. Like, that type of stuff is going on. So, I mean, I don't know, man. They should have thought about this. I mean, the black lady talking about they let the doors open. It was an open service. That's church. And she was the leader of it all. She is a deacon, or what did they say she was?
She was a pastor.
Reverend. Yeah. That's a pastor. You're a somebody pastor. You see, you know better. There will be many false prophets, but you will know them by their
Thank you.
Yeah, guys. I don't know. This is insane. I think Don. At first, I was like, I don't know how they're gonna charge him. I don't know how they're gonna get him. But there's a law for that. Yeah, ain't doing that right. That's pretty bad. This was bad. I would love to see him be charged. That would bring joy to my day. Hey, man, he gonna have a good old time in jail too. Oh, he gonna have fun in there. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's no return. It ain't gonna be no white meat, but might be something for him. But we out of here.
Okay, I see the chat is getting more people coming in. All right, let's see what we got. I did save them on video, but let's see.
saw a report that there are 30 groundbreakings coming in the next 45 days. And these are massive projects. And what happens is you start with construction, and then ultimately it's the factory. But don't deny the fact that when you build hundreds of billions of dollars of factories, that's GDP, that's construction. If we finally cut interest rates, remember, one of my points is
we've been cutting interest rates. That's
75 basis points. That's like milk in your coffee. That's not like the real thing. Okay, the real thing is the United States is the greatest credit on earth, the best credit on earth, and we have the highest interest rates. Why does everybody around us, everyone you speak to, everyone you see here, has lower interest rates?
Because they have lower growth and not as high inflation.
But no.
Now, if you can hear her talk and the sound of her voice, she's comparing. Howard's trying to tell her how it's going to be. She's talking about how it was. And that's the disconnect from so many people because they haven't done what President Trump's doing. When it was okay at 2, how are we going to do 5? Instead of saying, I see the plan, let's run this playbook. They're stuck in yesterday. They're stuck thinking, interest rates should be because of that and the other thing, and the yen and all that stuff. And they're not seeing the plan and what it actually means.
Very low inflation, and everybody knows it. The fact is our rates are much, much too high, hundreds of basis points too high. What used to happen in America is when we would grow, they'd raise rates to try to put the brakes. And when we were having trouble, then they'd cut rates to add a little gas. But basically, it was designed to have the United States be mediocre.
President Trump said that at the press conference today. You may not remember. What he said was every time we start doing well, they pull it back on purpose. You guys don't need to have this kind of prosperity. We need to tamp this down. We cannot have unbridled prosperity and wealth and everything else that comes with it. We can't do that. We need to pull it back in. And that has become an insane circle that they've been doing for decades. Oh, it starts getting good. We need to slow it down.
Thank you.
Why do you slow it down? Why would you slow? Oh, because if it goes too fast, then it's inflation. Well, if the inflation goes up a little bit, but people are making a lot more, then the inflation that may go because everybody's got more money is not going to be that discernible. Yet they do it the other way around. Why? Because they care about that 10% of the market that they have to feed for free at the expense of the rest of us.
And Donald Trump thinks, make America great again. Why can't we have growth if we have low inflation, have low interest rates? And if we cut interest rates 100 basis points, you're going to see the United States grow 6% or more. And that is something that no economist has ever thought was even possible. And you're going to see it in the United States of America in the back end of 2026 when rates finally start to get cut.
I don't have to tell you this, but the market has to, it's not just the Federal Reserve. And for instance, we had this stock market sell-off today and also a bond market sell-off and a dollar sell-off. So there are questions, about
what she has to ask, the question she's not asking, maybe he'll tell her here, is who was selling? See, every time you look at a chart, it's just numbers. At the same token, you have to realize who's dumping. Probably the guys over in Europe. The guys over in Europe who are freaking out because of what's coming.
whether there's a changing attitude around long-term debt right now. I don't know. Scandinavian pension fund today said that it was getting rid of treasuries.
Oh, sure it is. Sure, I get rid of treasuries because I buy what? European government bonds? Right? Like, what's their alternative? Stop it. The fact is, the United States is...
When you know you've got the goods, you know you've got the goods. Stop with your manipulation. What are you going to do? What's your alternative? We are the best. See, Democrats don't like that. They don't like our superlative. They don't like us thinking we are the big dog here. We are the Western Hemisphere. We can't be that powerful. What about our friends in like Spain? F Spain. As long as we have people on the street, as long as we have people dying from drugs, as long as we have people on welfare, how about we fix all that first? Can you imagine a country here that had like this much people on welfare? You know, we've accepted that, you know, what they say, 70 or 80% of the Somalis are on welfare. Can you imagine if welfare in the population was in the 15s, the 10s, and people were actually working? No, people can't. They can't even think of that concept. What do you mean? What do you mean we're not giving out food stamps? You don't need it. Buy it yourself. Buy your own damn food with the job that you get or the business that you start. For so long, it's been ingrained in us that this is how life is. We've got a whole subset of society that has to be fed, housed, bus passes, internet, and Trump's coming along and go, why are we doing this? Why don't they go out and get jobs? Why are they taking from these people? Because they don't want to work. And it's messing with people's heads because they've no one's ever told them that. Can you imagine in our history, where we are right now, we have a complete subset of society that has a problem with earning. And at the same time, you get guys like Mondami who's talking about, we're going to spread it around. You know what you can spread around? Incentive, aspiration, inspiration. Spread that.
How many record highs? 50 or something record highs this year since Donald Trump took office, right? Oh, and the market's down today. Oh, what? We should all be worried? Let me give you a hint. The growth in the United States is hard and fast. We are winning and we are growing. Our stock market's going to be higher when I next see you and I'm next on the show, right? Interest rates are going to come down in America. Inflation is low. The United States is in a good place because Donald Trump understands the economy of the United States and he's working for the American people and our economy.
Well, clearly there's been a push to make things more affordable and more accessible for Americans. But I do wonder what's with the sort of measures around economic populism, taking the private sector out of home buying, for instance, capping credit card rates, which, you know, I mean, we just heard from Jane Fraser, would actually starve the economy of credit. These sort of
She's, again, listening to people who followed rules yesterday. I remember when I was in high school, we ran the wishbone. And we did the wishbone, and we were one of the best teams running the wishbone, and they couldn't stop our offense until people started running the spread and destroying us. You see, things work very well until they don't. And you just can't keep doing the same old stuff.
Measures feel more like they're from the left than from the Trump administration. What's with that?
It's a weird thing when in your neighborhood, a big hedge fund or big company comes in and buys up all of the single family homes that are available, right? And it creates like a weird event for you. And if you look at it macro in America, oh, why is it good or bad? But I tell you what.
It might be a weird event, but doesn't it also create incentive for builders to build more homes? There's more buyers?
But this is the key. If they want to hire builders to build homes for rent, that's fine. That's fine. You can hire them to build for rent. But why are you buying the houses that are there that a young family's trying to buy and taking them all off the market and making them all not affordable? So build to rent, go for it. But don't be buying the single family homes out from in front of and paying a little extra in front of the young family trying to get it. Look, when Donald Trump left office, the average age of a single home buyer was 33 years of age.
I know, it's so
and now with Biden's inflation, it went to 40. That's just so wrong. So we've got to get it down, right? One of the ways is to stop these odd things from happening. But basically, interest rates need to be lower so that houses are more affordable for young people to buy the homes. We need to bring that down. You bring interest rates down 100 basis points, you're going to bring the average age down 4 or 5 years. Seriously, it just makes it more attainable. And Donald Trump is on it. He's been talking about it his whole term, right? But now it's crystal clear. He's got to bring interest rates down.
And the solution to that is what? A new Fed chair?
Well, a new Fed chair certainly is going to help. That's for sure. Because Jay Powell, as he says, is too late, you know. And why did Jay Powell cut 50 basis points just before the election.
They were
And
worried about the
since
job
then,
market.
he was worried about trying to get reappointed. And now it's 25 here, 25 there, 25 here. We don't have inflation. Everybody knows we don't have inflation.
It's not at 2%. I mean, we're closer to 3% than 2%.
Okay, well, it came down from 9% down to below 3%. And I think we have a great economy that can well handle lower rates, which will allow people to buy houses, which will allow a lot of growth in America, which is jobs for Americans, which is what we're about. It's what this administration is about. Bring those jobs back to America. Bring industrial policy back. I mean, I know industrial policy sounds boring, but let me give you what that means. It means build a factory in Syracuse and hire 25,000 people. Build factories in Arizona, build factories in New Mexico, build factories across the United States of America, in Tennessee and in Georgia and in Alabama. Huge factories, huge jobs, great for America.
And this is what you're working on all day long.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we're doing is power. Yeah. Lots and lots of power, because we know if we build power in America, our objective is going to be to bring the price of electricity down.
Yes, that has been rising.
Well, because we've got to build power. You know, if you don't build power, everything is a draw on your power. But if you build power and you're focused on building power, which we are really focused on building power. I mean, my objective is to build 100 gigawatts of power. And what that means is driving down the
100 gigawatts
cost of electricity for Americans. Try to get it down 10%. Let's try to get it down even further. That's our objective. Drive down the cost of electricity for Americans across the United States.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, thank you for the time.
It was great to
be here. It's fun. You've been at Davos many, many times, but
this is my
not
31st
not
year.
as Commerce Secretary, so it's a little bit different.
First,
yeah.
First, where they treat me nicely.
Yeah, you get to cut the lines. That is the Commerce Secretary. Over to you, David.
All right, so I realize a lot of what he talks about is high-level finance for some people, but it's only that way because you haven't been well-versed in it. See, that's one of the problems is because these guys are talking about things when Scott Besson starts talking and when Kevin Hassett starts talking, of course, Howard, they're talking about things and they're being transparent, and we have never heard it said before. We never knew that this stuff was going to be available. And as it's becoming more and more available, we're finding out that, some people just can't take it. I don't know. Does it mean that they've fallen behind? But as we're seeing what's going on with the push for the Western Hemisphere, it's becoming more and more apparent how this thing is going. And so I see we're at like an hour and a half. I may have to move forward. I had a bunch of stuff here. Let me move to his talk, because the rest of his talk at Davos is something I want you guys to hear. Because it's very important. I'll do the other stuff I had planned tomorrow, but it's I don't know. I got excited. I only heard a little bit of a portion of it, and I'm like, that's it. So I'm gonna play the Davos panel that he was on, and I'd like you to focus on what these people are saying in reaction to him. And how that you can see their uncomfortability because they realize their globalization is slipping through their hands. So just take a listen to this.
Fox 45 News. I'm just going to run down the list. These are all people who are familiar to you, but nevertheless, it's a great pleasure, even on my part, to welcome everyone. Howard Lutnick, America's Commerce Secretary, Rachel Reeves, UK Treasury Minister, and Champagne of Canada, Brian Moynihan of Bank of America, and Janet Troncalli of EY. So we have an extraordinary blend of powerhouse expertise in economic policy and private sector representation as well. I mean, I'm going to start with the public policy issues that are on everyone's minds right now that bear directly on the issue of sovereignty and interdependence. And I'm going to turn, with your permission, to Secretary Lutnick to give us maybe an insight and explanation. I think a lot of people are looking at Davos to see and to try and better understand the mindset of the Trump administration. Speaking to you earlier on, it's the first time I've had the privilege of meeting you. I've seen you on TV a lot. In person, the impression is even more overwhelming. Of, on the one hand, kind of extraordinarily ebullient, dynamic.
That was in a nice way, Howard.
Dynamic. These are good words. These are all good. I'm coming to a different tone in a sec. But like initially, it's this just extraordinary ebullience, dynamism. You were saying you've sealed deals for $1.5 trillion in jobs and investment into the United States.
Yes.
And then you said, and this is where the tone shifts, you got to understand, I'm the hammer.
How you doing, Mick?
These were your words. I'm the hammer.
Bearing it,
Because the people I'm dealing with know that unless they deliver the kind of investments I'm looking for, I'm coming with 100% tariffs. And that duality, I think, between the dynamism, the constructiveness, the forcefulness of the American state, which was, after all, also something many of us saw in the Biden administration, and this element of threat, is what many of us are actually trying to come to terms with. Because this is, to say the least, unfamiliar.
Yeah, that's it. It's unfamiliar. We're used to dealing with Poopy Pants Joe. This whole hammer stuff is kind of freaking us out. At least they're honest. And you can see Howard's like, don't ask me these questions. You ain't going to like the answer.
And when it moves from the zone of economic policy to the question that is directly under the subtitle of our talk today, which is sovereignty, and we're talking about the territory of Greenland, and it's coupled so directly to tariffs, it's a fundamental shock to the system. You can read it off the faces and the rhetoric of
That's
every
how the
single
world is.
European politician,
That's how the money
business
is.
person I've spoken to while we've been here, and we're also getting reactions from around the world in similar tones. So I really wanted to ask you to help us understand, not in a sense what your motivations are, because I get it, like you want Greenland, it makes sense. You're proud Americans, you're advocates of President Trump's policy. What I struggle more with is how you imagine others react to this. I mean, if you put yourself in the position of your Danish counterpart, who's a proud Dane.
That's their problem. That's the problem with the media here. They don't get it. We don't care what you think. And that's very hard for people to grasp. You know, put yourself in their shoes. You know, how do they feel? I don't know. I don't care. I'm here for America. See, that's the complete difference in the communication with these globalists. Before it was like everybody's nipples all feel the same. We don't want anybody to have any hurt.
Like and subscribe, everybody.
And Trump and Howard are like, sorry, I don't give a shit. This is America.
And a loyal executor of the Danish government's position, how do you envision this going? How does this go down?
Well, I think you should start at a much higher level.
Okay.
We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America.
The first words out of his mouth. Y'all suck. I mean, you failed. That's not what they wanted to hear as the first words out of his mouth. Globalization has failed. Imagine that. Imagine all these bigwigs, elites, globalists.
Thank you guys for staying with me. 3 hours in. Thank you guys.
Been,
Appreciate it.
Of the universe,
For sharing some good content. Thank you.
Who just showed up for the first, well, he said he's been here before, and telling you everything you've done, it's over.
It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should...
No, understand. I am positive, as you must be positive, that Howard talked to Trump before he got over there. What can I say, boss? Give it to him. So I can say this? Give it to him. You're just flopping in the wind. You're just a flag. Oh my goodness.
You should have solar. You should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries. Why would you do that? Why would the United States of America, which has oil and natural gas, try to convert to all electricity? China does not have oil and natural gas. Electricity and electric cars make perfect sense to them. That is practical and logical. So the point I want to make, and I want people to think about, is that America First is the job of our government to take care of our workers, to make sure their lives are better for it. And then don't be America alone, right? But be America first. And I would suggest that policy is something for other countries to deeply consider, to take care of their own, and then we will work out wonderful relationships between us. But I want to point out, when America shines, the world shines. Close your eyes and think of a world without America in it. It becomes pretty dark, pretty darn quickly. When America shines, right? And everyone said, oh, you're going to do all these tariffs, you're going to destroy the world. The world's stock markets are up. Which ones of them? All of them.
I don't know how much you guys follow finance. This might be some of the biggest, deepest finance you've dug into in quite some time. But it's great, isn't it? I mean, I'm hoping that you're seeing this and you're like, wait a minute, I need to turn off Fox and CNN and start watching what Howard and Scott Bessent are saying, because over here we have the media acting like fools, and over here on the financial side, we got guys just smacking people.
Can I bring you back to Greenland?
No. It's unnecessary. It's the Western Hemisphere here is vital for the United States of America. Our national security people are on it, and they care about it, and I'm going to leave it to them to address with our allies, with our friends, and with everyone how they work it out. But the Western Hemisphere matters to the United States of America, and the United States of America, as I've just articulated, really, really matters to the world. When America shines, the world shines, because they all need to make sure America's...
Look at the lady's face. Right now, she needs some, like, I don't know, Miralax or something, because she's not doing well. She's not doing well at all. What are you saying? What are you saying? We're second? No. We're saying you're out of the picture. It's over. You failed. You're done.
Hey there, Mr.
That's
Boski.
what I'm saying.
Strong and powerful to take care of them, God forbid. And so I think America and the Western Hemisphere are vital to America, and I'm going to leave that to my national security people to address.
Doing great.
Right. The rest of us, I think, are finding it harder to make that kind of separation clearly.
Doing great, sharing content.
The rest of us are having a hard time making that separation. I don't care. That's pretty much what he said. This is kind of hard for us. I don't care. That's how it's going to be.
And I would be curious to know how the representatives of the UK and Canada might want to think about these issues. Do you see them starkly divided, as Secretary Lockett would like us to Do you have this logic of what's good for America is good for the world convince in this extraordinarily strong, extremely eloquent expression that we just heard? You go first.
Thanks, Francois Philippe.
We're friends.
So I'm very struck by and taken by the idea of putting your own country first.
What?
You heard what she just said. You heard what this woman just said. I'm very struck at the prospect of you wanting to put your own country first. Well, hey, honey, where are we supposed to put America? You tell me where us as Americans should place America. I'm completely upset that you would put America first. Shocking. Newsflash, we're from America. They couldn't even imagine what they were hearing. America first? How?
And considering your own security and resilience. I think it's about 3 years ago now that I gave a speech where I coined the term securonomics, which is all about building security and resilience in your economy. And the days when it didn't matter where things were made and who made them were in the past. And that's become...
It didn't matter where things were made or what it cost. Oh my God, the Democrats and other Republicans sold us the F out. Her ideology was it didn't matter where things were made and what they cost. Did you hear that? That was their policy. Hey, if it cost America more, it's too flipping bad. I'm going to just pull that back like 5 seconds so you can actually hear her say that again. That, you know.
And resilience. I think it's about 3 years ago now that I gave a speech where I coined the term securonomics, which is all about building security and resilience in your economy. And the days when it didn't matter where things were made and who made them were in the past. And that's become increasingly clear since the pandemic, when we were over-reliant on PPE and medicines from abroad. And then again when Russia invaded Ukraine because of what happened to oil and gas prices. I guess for an economy like the UK, the way in which we will pursue our national interest is going to be different from the way in which the US pursues theirs. You are a much bigger economy, and we can't do everything on our own, nor should we try to, because we'd end up doing nothing well. But we do have real strengths in the UK, in our defence sector, in life sciences, in business and financial services.
Oh, yeah, from Die Hard. That's a good one.
We do rely on our allies.
She looked like a...
And even a country as big and as strong as America also relies on its allies. And I guess the sort of area where I think that we do need to sort of continue that dialogue between countries that share each other's values is how we can work together in our mutual interests.
John McClane, we need you.
Our values in a very unstable and uncertain world. And you know, if you say, could you picture the world without the US and what would the world be like? Yeah, the world would be a lot poorer and it would be a lot scarier. But you've also got a lot of allies around the world. In the United States, Britain, I believe is your strongest ally. Always has been and always will be.
We love you. We do.
Thank you very much. Feeling is mutual. But we do need to think about where the threats are and who our friends are. And I think that's probably more stark for smaller economies. But even for the US, when you think about...
I'm also on iHeartRadio.
Last week for a meeting of G7 plus a few other finance ministers to talk around critical minerals. Now, you do have some reserves of critical minerals, but not everything you need. 90% of your critical minerals at the moment come from the US, from China. You need to wean yourself off those.
Sure.
Yeah, but you won't be able to do that without the help of Canada and Australia and other countries. And so for all of your strengths, we do also need to think how we can preserve some of the things that the US has benefited from in the NATO alliance and the Western alliance, not because it is the benevolent or the right thing to do, but because I profoundly believe it is in your country's national interest. The other thing I just wanted to say, Adam, in terms of sort of building security and resilience, but for my country, it's about our industrial strategy, where we're really focusing on these sectors where we are really good. But we're not going to be a semiconductor superpower in the UK. That's not realistic.
So
but we've
like
got biotech. Yeah, life sciences, biotech, financial services, which is obviously absolutely crucial for financing things like the exploration for critical minerals and the extraction of those critical minerals. We've got real strength with the London Metal Exchange in London, for example. But we have some reserves of lithium and tungsten. We're not going to be a big global.
Is it my imagination, or is this lady like just going on and basically begging? My interpretation when I heard this was she was trying to sell herself to Howard. You know, we can do this. We got this. I got bigger marbles. We can all get together. Can we have like a kumbaya meeting? Because she's not saying anything. She's still trying to absorb the fact that Howard's like, hey, go pound sand.
Supplier of critical minerals. So we have strengths. Defense is another one. And our trade strategy is also around our security and resilience, where we are trying, and this is different from the US approach, I absolutely acknowledge that, we are trying to reduce barriers to trade. You know, we've done trade deals this year with you, with India, with Korea, and we're also reducing trade barriers with the EU. There's more that we want to do together between the UK and Canada. We regard it in our national interest to reduce the cost of living for people in Britain, but also providing more opportunities for businesses in the UK to then export around the world. And, you know, energy security is important to us.
I can't believe she's just going on, and I think she's probably trying to collect her thoughts. What can I say to him so he doesn't completely cut us off? And I think she's trying to engage Howard. He just listened to her. What? You haven't said anything I want yet. And see, the part of this is, if we're going to go over there and cut deals, you better realize you better give Trump what he needs. Not what you want, what he needs.
As well, we do have some reserves of North Sea oil and gas, and they will be important for many decades to come. But we are a net importer of oil and gas. We do have, because of the shallow waters in our seas, big opportunities around wind technology. We don't have what you have in the US, and so we've got to find our own way to boost our energy security. And we strongly believe that renewables is a really important part of that mix, as is nuclear. There hasn't been sufficient investment in nuclear for a long time. We've signed off Sizewell C, big nuclear reactor, as well as small modular reactors in North Wales. So, you know, that security for us is around energy security, our security through our industrial strategy and our trade strategy as well. So I think a lot of shared analysis of what the problem is. The solution is going to be different in every country. But what I would urge Howard and others in the administration just to think of is how your allies can also help you achieve your objectives, which I think are in your national interest, as well as helping all of the Western world to thrive.
Can I begin, Mr.
Sure. Well, listen, it's a real pleasure to be with Howard and obviously Rachel and colleagues. I like the way Howard started. You know, it's the worker first and how we rebuild industrialization. And you're right. You know, you've been looking at that. And I think today, and I chaired 10 meetings of the finance minister of the G7, perhaps last year, with Rachel and Scott and others to try to figure out, you know, the way forward. And one thing, and goes back to Howard, I think that the world see a better, clearer nexus between food security, energy security, economic security, and national security. I can tell you as finance minister, I've never talked as much about national security as we did before, for some of the reason that Howard was mentioning. You know, we've become too reliant and less resilient. So how do we build resiliency in the system, I think, has been a significant thing. And nostalgia is never a good strategy. You know, I keep saying we're entering the second quarter of the 21st century. And the next 25 years and beyond is not going to be like the last 25. So you cannot look at the past
to try to chart the future. And I'd say the 3S, which I call the speed, scope, and scale of change, is quite unprecedented. Some would say you have to go back to 19.
You're starting to see what I see. These people have nothing to offer, and it's just blah, 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 blah. This man's sitting there. I just told you what our objectives are, and I don't got to say anything else. I'm just going to sit here and listen to you guys babble to yourselves. When until you say something I need to address, I don't got nothing to say to you. We are America first. Deal with that.
45, the fall of the Berlin Wall. It's everything. It's geoeconomic, geopolitics, supply chain. It's AI, it's quantum. It's a lot of things at the same time. And when you realize that, as we've done, is how do we between partners, allies, and friends? You look at Canada. I mean, geography has made us partners, allies, and friends. We've been blessed by geography.
That was for you, Mr. Boski.
We share the continent. We've been
That shit
trading
funny.
with each other. We've been exchanging. Actually, we're one of the biggest customers of the United States. We buy more from the U.S. than China, Japan, and the UK combined. So 2/3 of the United States of Canada is their first export market. So we've built that integration. But what Howard was making a point, and Rachel, is that within that, we also need to build more resilience in the system. We had to do a step change. How we're going to be, a major supplier in terms of critical minerals, in terms of energy, the things that will matter for the future. And what we need now is scope and scale. Because I think what we're facing now is a rupture point where we need to change the future together. And I would say when I look at Canada, we're still a big magnet for talent. I mean, like the United Kingdom, Rachel and I were in Downing Street recently looking at the talent piece. And if you can attract the right people, you're going to have the right economy and you're going to have the right strategy.
You see, right now, I think Howard Lutnick is sitting there thinking, what time is lunch? Because they're trying to sell their countries to Howard Lutnick and to the other one sitting there. And it shocks me because the first thing Howard said is globalization is dead. You failed. So everything you're saying right now is just water going down the drain. It's not going to happen. In fact, Trump might be even worse tomorrow, to let you know. It's not going to happen. And they're trying to, it sounds like to me, like they're trying to salvage something when there's nothing to salvage. Decision has obviously already been made. When Howard Lutnick went there and said, America first, and you guys have failed, unless you can address those two things, everything else you're saying is just biding time.
The right prosperity. The second thing I would say, you need strong industries. And I think that was the point of Howard. You need to make cars, you need to make ships, you need to make planes. You need to have that industrial base that is going to ensure your resiliency, whatever happened in this new world. And I'd say in terms of critical minerals, it's true with our G7 colleagues. We said we cannot let uncertainty become the new certainty. So how do we, make sure that we improve the resilience in the system? And we've seen what other actors have been trying to do on critical minerals. So we need to learn from that. And we've said, let's have an initiative to make sure we'll be more resilient. And for us, it's about how can we be the best possible partners to our friend allies so that no one has a choke point when it comes to that. The fourth thing I would say is around energy. I think that we have been for decades providing energy, but I think now we're stepping up in a big way. And I think it's a good thing because you want, at the point of Howard in the United States, they want partners to be resilient. They want partners to be, they're fighting for their own peace and for their workers, and I like it because we're all doing that, but we all need to do a bit more. And at the end, I would say when you're Canada, we have free trade with all the G7 colleagues. So I think we're in a unique position to work in a very concrete way to build the resilience in the system that I think going back to the worker, the point of Howard, we're all going to be benefit if we're more resilient, if we're more coordinated in what we're doing, and realizing that each ally and partner can bring something to the table. And that's what we're trying to build. If you're looking at the next quarter, that's really the wake-up call, I think, that we all receive and that we need to act upon.
Can I turn to our representatives from the private sector? Brian, ahead of time, we were talking about how, from your point of view, you think it's critical for countries to think about attracting foreign business. you were giving me a very interesting analysis of the way in which you thought that countries like Canada or the UK might be well advised to play this game of attracting foreign capital. We've heard the policy side. And then, Janet, I'd love to turn to you to get your global perspective on this.
So I think, Howard, one thing Howard didn't mention also is the U.S. final demand is huge. And so the success of a company coming to the U.S. and doing something is there's going to be a big final demand met. And the U.S. consumer in the first couple of weeks of January spent 7% more than they spent last January. We've raised our estimates for the U.S. economy from 2.6% GDP to 2.8%. We're bullish, and we think higher. That's net, Howard. So you got to, but a 5 or 6% growth, frankly, which is a lot of activity. So we're bullish.
All right. So this guy, I'm not sure who he is, but he's talking about, from a business investment perspective, where he see the United States economy going. And when he said 2.8, 2.9, and Howard said higher, he goes, no, that's net. He goes, yeah, I can see it going to 5 or 6. So he's underscoring what Howard and President Trump have been saying, that over the next couple of months, this economy here in America is going to be a rocket ship. And you can see the sourpuss faces because they can't match it.
But what I was saying earlier is the tricky thing to figure out, and I've had discussions with Rachel and her colleagues over the years, is how you're the best place. If you're England, and she pointed out the financial services is a major industry for them, you have to think about how you're the best place for firms like ours to operate, who are not running retail banks and not running, so that they can go to the whole world out of that. And so we have New York, we have London, and then how do we go to the whole world? And the trick for a government is to figure out, I got to protect my people, I got to protect my tax base. What I don't need to do is get myself so involved to where I start to become more and more difficult. So if you take the environmental rules that have been beaten at for the last 5 or 6 years, I've had some interesting meetings here where we keep telling these aren't going to work in the EU, CRDD and all this stuff. Our point was not, you just make it unable to work. And even the capital rules of Basel III, which sound like we're codified in work, the application of them created misery across the world. And so the idea, I think, when a country thinks about it, what our colleagues said here about protecting it, but it's how do you have the balance between being the best place for multinationals to come do business in our country, at the same time protecting our citizens a thing. And it's not by saying all the rules apply to the UK multinational that apply to a US multinational. You got to sit there and say, how do I tailor this thing to make it work? Which is a bit what Howard's saying. They're going to bring fabs here. We're not saying you have to become a U.S. company to do it. They're building, this major fab. He's talking about one up in Syracuse, and et cetera. It's a foreign company, but they got to put it here so if whatever hit the fan, you could cut it off and still own the means of production. That's because of that thing. There's other things you don't have to be quite so ardent about, for lack of a better term. So how does a country balance that sovereignty with that? Data is becoming a real problem. People want to say, if the data's in my country, it's okay. And you're saying, you know what? That just means you take.
I saw somebody ask who this guy is. He is the CEO of Bank America.
In all this worldwide system, which you want us to give you all these reports, information, you start slicing the pieces. There's no value to the customer in that. There's no value to your citizens, your companies in that. You think there's incremental value, but let us explain, what do you really want? We can get it to you if you need it. But if you make us run separate systems, you've added cost to your people, because, by the way, the rest of the people are letting us run a common system. So it's data, it's information, employee practices, and all those things. And how do you become the best, and how do you think about that while protecting your citizens from big bad banks, or protecting your citizens from taxpayer degradation, things like that?
That's truly fascinating. Janet, do you want to give us your...
So first, I'll just start with, we're a global organization, 400,000 people. We operate in about 150 countries and territories. And so, globalization for us has been there for a long time. And, you have to work, with how do you deal with local rules and regulations? It's no different than the financial services industry. Politics, economies, demographics, it's all different. And you've got to decide, what do you need to do to operate locally and then continue to be a well-connected global organization. And I think that's where companies, need more help than ever before. And so I think globalization is not going away. It's just becoming more complex. So we look at the landscape and...
She's trying to hold on to this globalization. Oh, it's not going away. Yeah, it is. Hey, he just told you it's dead. They're not accepting the fact that the America that they used to work with, that they used to basically control, is not going to be like that anymore.
The geo strategy of companies has been elevated like we've never seen before in the last 2 years to be a board level conversation. 94% of our CEOs that we survey are really investing significant money, to really games, and scenario plan, not one or two, but 6 or 7 different scenarios because of the complexities that we're talking about here today. And resiliency you talked about, that's what's so important for these organizations. And just being here last year, where there was, uncertainty, compared to this year, I think last year we saw a lot of companies kind of wait and see and, we'll take some time to see, how we pivot. I think now, our most sophisticated clients, they can't wait. So they're going to have to make some bets. They're going to have to make some investments. Some will work out, some won't. But,
All right, you guys, I'm going to call it a night. I appreciate you guys subscribing, liking to the channel. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Trying to get to 1,000 and better.